Oh, hey friends. What's going on? Borough Podcast here. Guys, you know the routine. We're going to get through these sponsors real quick and then get right into the episode. First, we have Municipal Land Survey. Contact them at 631-345-2658 for all your land surveying needs. We also brought to you by AS Engineering Services. You can get them at www.asengineeringservices.com, or you can call them at 631-560-0259. And last but not least, we are brought to you by Made to Thrive, an American t-shirt company. You could get them at www.madetothrive.us or on Instagram at madetothrive.us. This episode is the Ott Takeover. That's right, we have another Ott on the air with us. We have Chris Ott, Eric's brother, who is a doctor of physical therapy. He is an avid hunter and fisherman? Yeah, fisherman, angler, whatever you want to call him. He comes on to talk to us about the trials and tribulations of going through medical school. We touch a little bit about fishing, about hunting. We even maybe set up a Borough Podcast field trip to do some archery. Give it a listen, guys. It was a good, fun episode and very informative. All right, guys, we're live.
Borough Podcast. D-Rock.
Yarbs.
Eric what?
Eric Ott.
There we go.
There you go. Since you have no nickname.
Yeah. Eric the Ott. Eric who hits women. Whatever. We got it's a sibling festival. Chris Ott.
Dr. Christopher Ott.
Oh shit, doctor.
Yeah, how dare you?
I fucked up.
How fucking dare you?
I fucked up.
Stepped on my toe.
That leads a lot more credibility to all of his hunting and fishing stories.
They're authentic.
I
Like,
feel
the
like
fish was this big, and you have to believe him because he's a doctor.
He's a doctor.
Doctors don't tell
They don't
stories.
yeah, doctors have custom license plates.
It's an objective measure.
That's fine. I feel like a doctor is the biggest trump card ever. Like, because I wouldn't tell anybody I was a doctor until they pissed me off and said something. Yeah, until they said something I didn't like, I'd be like, it's doctor.
It's doctor.
That's the ultimate, like, go fuck yourself.
Yep.
I wouldn't do. That's how you would
Trump.
know.
You got Trump.
Yeah, that's how you would know I don't like you. When I was like, it's doctor.
It's
Delaware.
Dr.
Dr.
Delaware.
D-Rock.
Yeah, it's doctor. Actually, so
Piece of shit.
That flows pretty well.
you're beneath me. Fuck out of here.
You think everyone's beneath you anyway, so.
No, it's just because I wish I was taller.
I know everyone's beneath me.
Right.
Yeah, the rest, everybody, 99.9% of the time is beneath you.
Yeah. Well, all you fuckers are tall, so I have a complex because I grew up around tall people and never actually grew up. And I'm also not a doctor.
You got stuck at like age 14.
Yeah.
Around that time, you just started growing out, not up.
God damn it. Not even a minute and a half into the podcast. Fucking Chubby D comes up.
All right, back to Doctor and Chris.
Yeah. Dr. Chris Ott. What are you a doctor of?
I'm a doctor of physical therapy, so I don't typically go around utilizing my doctor title. I like to go by Chris.
Well, lesson learned. You
It's,
need to start.
it's a little more authentic.
Which I need to, I know you're not going to want to hear this, but I have to start off by thanking you yet again.
Anytime, sir.
Over the summer, I fucked my knee up, and I thought I did some I did do some pretty serious damage to it, but I thought it was going to be more serious and more ligament orientated, and I was freaking the fuck out. And you let me come to your house and you checked me out, pro bono style.
Anytime, man. It was a good. It went well. I think it was definitely a pretty legit injury, but
still have the
it
table?
wound out. Yeah, I have my table, of course.
Yeah, I got checked out on a legitimate table. It wasn't creepy at all.
It is in the woods, but it's not that creepy.
Yeah,
I do live in the woods.
it's in the woods, but it was legit, And I remember leaving feeling like when you get hurt, especially Eric, like as a competitor, you get hurt, and it's just like, especially your knee.
You wonder.
Yeah, and I thought it was my ACL because that's what everybody was telling me. And in my mind, I'm like, well, this is it for me, because an ACL, you're looking at 9 months probably, right?
If you do a pretty serious damage to your ACL and you need a surgery to participate in a sport like you guys do, it's probably going to be a good 9 months till you're really back at it at a full force level.
Right. And in my mind, I'm like, 9 months. I'm like, what am I going to do for the next 9 months? I can't train. I will be a degenerate, drug addict, alcoholic by September.
You can't even run.
Yeah, there's nothing to do. So this was in June. I'm like, by September, I'll be a full-blown alcoholic drug addict. And I'm never going to come back from this.
You got to get good at video games.
But that's just as bad. That's a dangerous combination. Video games are what led to some of my growth at 14 that was not wanted. Video games, the discovery of drugs. And
Doritos?
Yeah. It's not. So that's what, I was super depressed. And when I left your house in the woods, I felt better about myself. And, you advised me to wait and to see how it felt, and it got better and better. And it turned out, a month down the road, I actually finally did go get the MRI.
Yeah.
And I had actually fractured my tibial plateau.
Yep, yeah, your tibial plateau, which was a good outcome, I think, for
fuck yeah.
Other options for your differential diagnosis.
Yeah, and it's funny because when I went to a knee specialist, and he told me the same thing, that he gave me essentially the same diagnosis as you, and he fiddled around with my knee, same way you did. Which, I don't know, whatever you did, whatever voodoo you did.
Little special tests to get some information pertaining to
what
could be going on inside there.
Every time I go to something like a physical therapist or like an ortho, I don't know why, but oh my God, they're going to hit me with the hammer. The reflex thing, and it never fucking hit you.
I didn't do that.
Neither one of you guys did. I was I always leave disappointed.
Sorry to let you down.
Do they not do that anymore?
For something like that, it's not really warranted. You can check reflexes to get some ideas what's going on with someone's nervous system. But for an injury like his, it was an acute injury. He had a pretty legitimate mechanism of injury. I think he got twisted or kind of thrown out on the mat, thrown a leg lock.
No, I got. Shut up, bitch! Our dog, the Borough Podcast mascot. No, I got. It was a takedown, and I landed awkwardly on it, and it popped.
It was like hyperextension, sort of.
Sort of, yeah. I landed
pressure on an angle on the joint.
Yeah, so when if somebody gets behind you and does if you guys are familiar with wrestling, which you should be if you listen to this podcast, I got mat returned. So they take your hips off and they go to pretty much drop you on your shoulder, but somehow, in me trying to defend it, my legs went and hit first, so my heel on my right leg took the brunt of my whole body. It hit the ground first. The rest of my body came down, and it was this way. Mm-hmm. So my knee buckled and popped, and it's fracturing something was the furthest thing from my mind. Who breaks a knee?
Yeah, it's not the most common, but it does happen. Usually from slip and falls and car accidents, but sometimes
old women with osteoporosis.
Yeah, we see a fair amount of that. The osteoporosis will get you.
But for real old people, right?
Yeah, those brittle bones.
Some not so old. Anyone can get it. Today we have a lot of unhealthy people out there not eating.
I don't think I'm a candidate for osteoporosis. Osteoporosis are the people you see on TV with the help, I've fallen. The life alert.
Sure. Lifeline, the necklace.
Yeah, that's what I was getting you for Christmas.
I'm not even mad at that.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
You don't want to get me that because I'll abuse it.
Oh yeah.
I'll hook it up to ringing your cell phone every time, and I'll just hit the button in the middle of the night.
You be sitting on the couch, yo, can you grab me something to drink?
Yeah.
So thirsty right now. Yeah, but definitely you'd think ligamentous injury when you hear pop or twist around a joint like that, and you had some swelling. And I remember you were describing it to me over the phone before I had seen you, and then when you walked up the steps, I'm like, oh, he's limping pretty significantly. I was a little surprised because it was probably 3 or 4 days after I think it had happened.
I think it was 2 days after.
Yeah, it was pretty close. It was pretty close time frame from what I recall. But it went well, and you healed up pretty well. You have no deficits or anything now. Good range of motion and everything.
Everything is right back to normal. It was great because I remember when I left you, you told me to give it a week, so I gave it a week. I stayed off, and then I remember I was running sprints. I was running sprints for 3 weeks, and I was boxing, and it just every other day I'm God, it feels good, but not good enough to go back to jiu-jitsu. And that's the only reason why I went and got an MRI was because I wanted to get back to jiu-jitsu, but I was in my mind I was conflicted because I was I don't know what I did, and I'm afraid to go to jiu-jitsu, and then maybe I'm close to healing, and I do something, and it gets worse.
Set yourself back significantly.
I didn't want to do that, so when I went, I saw the doctor. Before he prescribed for the MRI, he checked me out, and he's I think you have a lateral tear of your meniscus. And that's what you told me. If you tore anything, it's probably a lateral tear of your meniscus. And I'm well, what does that entail? And he was surgery, basically. He's it's quick surgery, in and out, 6 weeks you're back. I'm that's not that bad. Could be worse. And I got the MRI, and they came back. He's hey, you don't have any tears. there's a fracture. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, I'm like, this is great news. He's like, yeah, but you have to stop running. He's like, that's why it's not healing, because you keep running.
Because you're dumb.
Yeah.
Were you just in like one of those grooves where you're running a lot, or?
It was the only thing I could do. It was the only thing that I could do to not go crazy. Yeah, like, I could run sprints.
You're getting one of them arm cycles.
Oh my god, yeah.
Or a wheelchair.
That's a good one.
Borrow one of Steve's wheelchairs and just roll yourself. You could play basketball in it. You could do the tricks.
I can't do any tricks on that.
You could if you put your mind to it.
You do the wheelie. To negotiate curbs. They teach it. It's pretty legitimate.
They really teach that?
Sure.
All right, it's cool.
I was taught in school, in physical therapy school, how to do a wheelie to negotiate.
Go on. No.
Well, we got to get the wheelchair.
Yeah, no. I want to hear all about this. I want to hear how you got, like, this was part of your doctorate?
I got taught by, I'm going to guess her age, I'm going to say late 60s. I got taught by a woman who's in her late 60s, a very experienced physical therapist. Shout out to Dr. Sofer, how to do a wheelie in a wheelchair, because we have to... I don't really deal a lot with that type of population in the field that I do it in, but other people.
We have one usually doing our research.
I work very minimally with individuals in wheelchairs. I do outpatient orthopedics for the most part, but some individuals who are in physical therapy would work with those types of patients frequently on a daily basis, and that's something that they need to be able to do to get through day. They may be somewhere that there is not proper ramp to get up somewhere, so they want to have that ability to really pop it up and get up there, absolutely, so that there's not a safety issue, or it's just something you want to be able to do.
Is it like riding a bike? Can you still do it?
I can, actually. I'm pretty good at that. I'm pretty good at the wheelchair wheelie.
He does it daily.
That's pretty awesome.
I'm not gonna lie, I used to work at Best Buy and we had a wheelchair in the store. And, after the store was closed, we used to have some competitions with the wheelchair.
Nice.
It was a good time.
So this was all going into your doctorate.
Yeah, it was a good time.
So if I get like a side job at Best Buy for like 6 months and learn how to navigate a wheelchair, can I call myself a doctor after that?
If you go to the proper schooling afterwards, you certainly can. I can help you with that.
Well, anyway, thank you.
Anytime.
I will thank you relentlessly about that for a long time.
Anytime. I'm sure you guys get a slew of injuries, and it's nice to get a little peace of mind sometimes.
Yeah.
When you have a lot of concerns, especially one that could take you out for half of a year or something, which is huge for when you have competitions coming up and everything.
You were huge for my mental stability over the summer, because if I wasn't able to go, like I had that, you gave me the confidence to go run and keep my sanity, even though I wasn't training. I was able to run and box and stuff like that. So you definitely helped me keep my sanity over that time span, and saved me some pretty good money.
Very good. No, I'm glad. It's definitely an important thing. Obviously, healthcare is a hot topic in today's times, with a lot of different things. Co-pays, insurance, if it's going to cover it and anything. And at least as well, you did wind up getting an MRI of your knee, so you have some good information too going forward. Because I know you had said you had injured it quite a few years before, and you're slightly concerned that there might have been some residual damage from that injury.
Oh, funny story actually. It worked out too, pretty funny, because a girl who we work over at the casino, a girl who's a regular there. Really cool girl. I forget what I think I posted something on Facebook, asking for like a place to get an MRI, like that didn't have a huge wait or something like that. And she messaged me and asked me like why I need the MRI, and I told her what happened. And I had finally gotten it, and I told her the injury, and she was like, "Can I have the pictures?" And I was like, "What?"
Of your MRI?
Yeah.
That's a little creepy.
Well, because she's in
personally,
school.
I'd like to look inside your knee.
Yeah.
She's in school to become a physical therapist. And she's like, I'm actually, I have to do a presentation on tibial plateau fractures.
Beautiful. She's got a fresh one.
She's like, can I have this? And I was like, yeah, you can have it. She's like, this is perfect. It worked out so great. So it worked out to be the best thing. She was like, thank you so much. I passed my class with this and everything. She's like, I put together this awesome presentation. Don't worry, I blacked out your name. I was like, I don't give a fuck. It's a picture of my name.
She's just looking out for your
right.
She's
doing patient confidentiality.
Yeah, privacy. It's real big. You didn't want any potential stalkers that might be real into the inside.
Look how beautiful his knee bone structure is.
Check it out.
I have to find his Facebook.
Next thing you know, as soon as someone knocking at the door.
I've been looking for a tibia like that.
A gorgeous plateau.
Can you imagine if that was something chicks were into? Oh my god, look at his knees.
I'm sure there is someone into
that.
There's a lot of different genres on those porn websites now.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll see a genre and you'll just be like, I don't even know what this is. I have to click. I have no idea what this even means. I just don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, it's creepy.
Very creepy.
Let's not go down that rabbit hole.
No, we're not doing that. Not tonight.
Who was it? Didn't we? We were just having a conversation with somebody, a girl, that was talking about guys that have nice knees. Who the fuck was it?
No, it was thighs.
Oh, that's right. It was thighs.
It was thighs. She was like, "Oh, I like man thighs."
Yeah, man thighs. You're like, what the fuck is that?
I'm familiar with that. Like childbearing hips or like power lifter hips or...
No, like men's
it was
thighs. She finds
men's
men's thighs
girl.
attractive.
It was a girl talking about men's
She's a fan of the podcast. Actually, she listens often. She's cool.
Right.
We won't name her name.
Maybe we'll put
You know who the fuck you are.
Yeah.
Weirdo.
Maybe we'll put up some thigh shots for you guys later. I got tight jeans on today. They make my thighs look real good.
No. She was specific about the thigh. Like,
Oh, the tight thigh?
Like,
So
if
you're
you're wearing
saying like not
shorts.
skinny thighs?
No,
like
if you're
mine.
wearing shorts and like it rides up over your knee and some of your muscular man meat hangs out of
Oh,
there.
so she likes shorts.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah.
She's lucky those baggy skater jeans aren't in style anymore.
Yeah,
And
well-
Jinkos.
I was actually getting hammered about the jorts that I wore over the summer, and that's how it started because the jorts revealed my thigh. Anyway, enough of this nonsense.
Yeah, this is just...
Thanks for the cookies, by the way. They're delicious.
Oh, no problem.
Excellent cookies.
How old are you?
30.
30. So you had to know pretty early what you wanted to do because doctor's 7 years, right?
Yeah, it's a 7-year degree to get your doctorate in physical therapy nowadays.
Fuck
seven
that.
or eight. It's a long haul.
Fuck that.
But I'm very glad that I did it. Yeah, I kind of decided when I was like a senior that I wanted to go to school for physical therapy.
Why?
Well, I decided that I liked physical therapy and I was going to take prerequisites for it. And if I didn't change my mind while I was taking those prerequisites, then that's what I was going to be. And I didn't really waver, so I said, let's do it.
What was the catalyst?
To get into PT?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good question. I remember starting jiu-jitsu, actually, when I was in, I think, 11th grade. And I got really into that for quite a while. 10th grade? Maybe 10th grade. I don't remember. But, yeah, we started training at Kyoto in Port Jeff. And what was the other town, actually, before that? Bohemia.
Yeah, Bohemia.
I think. We started at Bohemia and then over in Port Jeff.
But it was on Sunrise back in
The original one. And I just got pretty interested in like the human body, how it would function. You know, we did jiu-jitsu, which was basically how to mangle someone's joints, and how to twist them and contort them. And we'd see people get injured and having problems here and there, so they'd maybe take some time from jiu-jitsu and rehabilitate, come back. So that kind of sparked my interest. So I was looking at different things to work with the human body, maybe like athletic training, something like that. And the rehab just kind of was very interesting to me, and I thought it would be a good venture. So I started reading about it, studying it, and well, here I am. I'm pretty lucky. I like what I do.
Did you at any point, because I'm always fascinated by people that can do that kind of schooling, because I'm not built for that shit, man. I don't have the brains for that. I don't have the discipline for that.
I was gonna say, it's not a brain thing.
It's both.
You gotta
have it is a part. I think having the discipline for that is part of the brain, like the way your brain is. And I don't have that type of a brain. Like my brain's not. Because I tell people this all the time. I'm like, I'm not disciplined, and people are like, dude, you're super disciplined, but in other areas, like I'm disciplined with going to jiu-jitsu all the time, stuff like that. Yeah, I'm disciplined with that.
Not disciplined with learning.
It's not even that.
It's not that.
Because I learn all the time.
Yeah.
I'm
but on your own accords,
right?
Like not with a gun to your head.
Exactly. I'm not disciplined in learning, like structured learning like that. Where if it's like, even though I'm into the human body and mechanics, and I did, when I went to the short time I did in college, I did some kinesiology and I really liked it, and I still retain some of it. If I didn't want to sit down with the book and learn it, I won't. I don't know. So I don't have that kind of a discipline, and that's why I always say, like, I don't have that brain for it. I'm always fascinated by people that do that, like, because I'm the furthest thing from it. So, like, did you at any point, like, question it or second guess? I'll be like, wow, this is like not.
Yeah, definitely. There was a lot of times. Undergrad, I would say, was easier, not because the coursework was. I mean, it was definitely easier, the course load, but a lot of my friends were also in college, or they were, maybe working or in the military or something. But everyone was just kind of getting new into things. The toughest time that I would say that I had was more towards the tail end, when most of my friends were either done with their degrees and making real money working, or maybe they went to like something else where they're still making real money and working. Like a friend was a plumber, and he's doing financially phenomenal at 23, 24, and I'm working part-time here and there to make a couple bucks to pay for a sandwich and go to school.
So you feel like you're behind, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know, here I am. I'm still in school, and I'm, oh, shit, I got 2 more years of this crap. And
delayed life.
And then I can start to work. I'm going to be... I graduated right as I was turning 26, so that's like later in life to be starting, and I have several friends that one of them was about to buy a house. One of them he worked at Best Buy with me. He was a manager at that point. You know, he's making $60,000, $70,000 being a manager, and I'm, you know, here I am making like $2,000 or, you know, $1,000 a month to, you know, scrape by, and I'm like, oh shoot, can I save a couple bucks to go out and hang out and party with my friends this weekend because they're all going out, and here I am reading anatomy textbook for like the 20th hour, and I have a test coming up that I hope I can, you know, do well on, and then the following week I have another test in, you know, kinesiology or whatever my other class was at the time. So it was definitely a lot of discipline and I guess patience and perseverance.
I don't have any of that shit when it comes to that, dude.
Well, you do, but like you said, in different ways. Because, like, you know, you'll grind out a lot of time in the gym, whereas maybe the average individual or a lot of the people that were in my program, they're not going to have the mental fortitude to be in the ring or in the gym for 3-hour sessions 3 or 4 times a week. You know, like you've done several fights and you train for them, and that's another level of discipline and patience and perseverance.
Yeah, it's different areas, I guess, but like I kind of
different types of the same misery.
Yeah, like I can be disciplined and go to the gym, and I can be disciplined on my diet. Where like, if I know I'm not allowed to have any of these delicious cookies, I won't. You know, I'm good with that. But like, you know,
a lot of people can't say that. A lot of emotions in those cookies.
Right.
They can't.
I got all kinds of emotions. They can't not have cookies right now. I want to hug them.
They're singing to me right now. They're singing. Eric, just try one. Just try one. I won't make you want to have another one. Just try one. But I know
it's a lie.
I know the exact spot they're going to stimulate my brain. It's going to be like right around this region, and it's just going to make me want more than anything else in the entire world. Like you could put like a whole thing of cookies or like a bag with like probably up to like at least $5,000 in it, and I would be like, and they're like, you can have whichever one you want with no negative consequences. I'd be like, cookies. Cookies. How many cookies? How many is $5,000? How many cookies is that? I kept 20 cookies. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's weird because I guess I equate that kind of discipline to some different kind of payoff. I don't know. I don't know how to rationalize it for myself, but like your discipline for school and stuff like that is like you have to be able to hold in your mind the finish line for a long time.
Definitely, you have to see the bigger picture, and that's a good way to look at it, because if you don't and you just look at it day by day, like, oh, this sucks, I'm still in school, I'm 4 or 5 years away from graduating, there's a lot of money in between now and then.
You have to live ahead. You have to live almost like ahead of your life in your mind. Like people say, oh, you got to live each day, one day at a time, or live here and now, the delta of now, like what's going on right now, and you need to enjoy each day. But when you're in one of those like long-term programs, like when I was in grad school, or where there was like a light at the end of the tunnel for me, but it was several years down the road, you live in your almost like this fantasy world in your head, because you can't live in the present moment, because your present moment is terrible, and your present moment tomorrow is going to be terrible. Your present moment on Wednesday is going to be terrible, and then maybe you can get a couple hours off on Friday, and you could cut loose. Oh, I'm going to go home and I'll study till like 8 at night, and then maybe I'll watch a game, or I'll go to my friend's house for a couple hours. But then it's like, oh, I got to go home because I got Saturday classes. Like, I took Saturday classes for 3 years in grad school while I was working full-time, and it was like the same thing. It was just like, I told my friends, guess what? Not going to see you for at least 2.5 years. That's what it was. Not going to see you for 2.5 years. I trained 1 day a week, if that, 2 days a week.
I remember never seeing you, yeah. It's weird because, you know, I read this, well, I didn't read the whole thing. I read parts of the book because I think of it back. I borrowed it from somebody. There was a book called You're Not As Smart As You Think You Are. Mm-hmm. And it talks about how you have to envision yourself in 2 different aspects. You have to operate in the present moment with your future self in mind, essentially, because you're not as smart as you think you are. Whereas, like, when the moment comes, that you're going to be prepared for it.
You'll be ready.
And it's like your mind plays this trick on you about that, and it's like you have to make. There's 2 different yous. There's you who's here right now, and there's going to be you in the future who's back in this similar moment, but dealing with the consequences of
your current actions. Yeah.
Right. And with your school, I feel like that's what you had to hold fast to. I'm not very good at that. I'm not really too great at that. Like, I get more like with the diet and stuff like that when we're fighting, yeah, you're holding towards a future goal. But I get a lot of the payoff instantly. Like when I leave the gym,
you feel good.
Yeah, I feel good, and that's why I was saying like what you did for me over the summer was huge because you helped my mental stability way more than anything else physical. Like the physical part of you will heal, this and that. The mental part for me is big because like if I don't have that kind of an outlet, like I unravel. That's what I'm saying. I was like 9 months. That's it. I'm fat within 6. I'm on drugs in 2, and I'm a full-blown alcoholic in the next 3 weeks. Like it's all downhill. Like I train as much as I do sometimes because like I don't know what else to do with myself, and it's like I feel like I'd slip into being a degenerate real fast.
You're teetering as it is.
Yeah. So, that's why I admire your ability to kind of do that. Like you had to all that time see the bigger picture. And like now here you are, right? You're on the other side of it.
Yeah, now I am, and I'm reaping some of the benefits. I've had actually a pretty big year for me with work progression and things like that within my company. But I'm finally reaping some of that hard work that I put in my earlier to mid 20s.
Yeah,
now that I'm
but that's how it is though. If you put that work in when you're younger, if you put that work in when you're younger, I feel like it takes 10 years to be able to like enjoy the misery that you went through.
Yeah, I remember I started my school at Suffolk Community College. As I mentioned, I was taking prerequisites and I was trying to keep it on a budget. So that was a great school for me to start at, and I did a bunch of semesters there before I went off to Toro, which is where I did a little bit more undergraduate. In Bayshore.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, that's where I went to Toro College, and so I did some more undergraduate there before going into the doctorate program. But I remember they were renovating part of the courtyard at Suffolk Community, and it was like January, and it was really cold out, and there's these guys doing construction, breaking up the old courtyard or whatever, and I guess getting it ready to do the new thing. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like 22, I could probably be doing that right now, making really good money instead of working at Best Buy for $8.75 or $9, whatever the hell I made. But then I'm thinking, I'm like, well, yeah, right now that's cool, but when I'm like 40 or 50 or something, I probably don't want to be outside in 20 degrees breaking up concrete anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that physical therapy doesn't sound so bad. At that point in time, so
now you can be helping those guys.
Now I can help those guys. Give them some tools that they need.
Working indoors is I look at it like having grown up working for our family surveying business when I was younger and working on construction projects. It's almost like something that construction workers look at as like it's like a treat. Like once in a blue moon, you'll get a job, and it's like in the winter, and the job will be like renovating the inside of a building, or it'll be the summertime, and it'll be renovating the inside of a building that has air conditioning.
And
it's luxury.
It's like finding a genie.
That's what it is. It's like you get your lunch. You're like, oh, is it time for lunch? Oh, I didn't realize the day's going so quickly. And then meanwhile, in the middle of the winter now, there's guys like hanging out on like the 75th story of a high-rise in Manhattan.
Yeah, fuck that noise.
He's wishing that he would have went to school a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Because I've been that guy before, and I was that guy when I decided to go back to school.
Yeah, I've been both of those guys myself, ironically, and I'm lucky enough that it paid off the way. Because like I think I never would have said this until like now being in the position that I'm in. Dropping out of school might have been one of the best moves I've ever made in my life, to be honest with you, because I had no idea what I wanted to do, and I probably would have went to school like everybody else and maybe got a degree in something that I ended up not even working in that field. Like I know a lot of people who did that. They went to school and got degrees, like Skanga, or one of our roommates that host the podcast. He got a business degree, and he's in the Insulators Union. Like his degree has nothing to do with his job.
Yeah,
and with like a minor in computer something. He doesn't even own a computer.
Yeah, and it's like you got. Now you make this payment every month for the next however many years.
Well, that's a crazy thing, yeah.
And I'm glad I don't have it. I'm not riddled with any of that debt, and I actually, luckily, maneuvered my life in a way that now I do have a good job, and I built up a work resume as opposed to an educational resume. I mean, not that I don't have an education, but like I don't have the formal credentials. I built it all on a work.
Yeah.
Like actual hands-on work, and now being in my 30s and not having that bill have a lot more freedom than some other people because of that.
That's a huge perk, and I think that's something that a lot of people going into the workforce today or into looking at what they want to go to school for is something they should really strongly think about, because one of the perks I had is I have my older brother, and I got to see him and his friends go to school, or go to college, I should say, and some of them picked maybe fields that had a great job opportunity or great opportunity to progress once they graduate. Other ones maybe picked things that were, I don't know, maybe not the best decision to pick because the job market for that field on Long Island is maybe not so good. Maybe it's a little saturated. Or
teaching.
Yeah, not to say anything in particular, but there's a lot of fields out there where kids will go and they'll get a degree and they graduate, they just spend all this money and they have this huge payment and they can't even get a job in their field.
Well,
and
that's
that
teaching
sucks.
for sure.
I would say without a doubt teaching.
Teaching is
a lot,
better now
a
than
lot
it
of
was,
other degrees. I know, for example, like I graduated in 2005. I could think of probably like 6 kids that went to school that I was fairly close with for teaching degrees, and there's only one that I can think of that got a job on Long Island. The rest either moved or don't work in that field.
They're cops.
And some of them are cops, yep.
That's my
some of them are
experience too
cops.
with my friends.
A lot of them moved to like the Carolinas, Virginia, spots like that. Corrections, a lot of them corrections. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with those gigs, but if they if they played their cards a little better, they might have a nice chunk of money. Yeah, a nice chunk of money, or maybe been able to get started in that field sooner.
There's nothing wrong with the work that they're doing. It's just a shame that it's like, well, you spent 4 years pursuing something else, and now you're going to be stuck paying that back for the rest of your life, and it's not even, you never get to that.
Some people do that, and then they find out that that's not what they really want to do.
Well, that's another sad thing too. When you spend it and you get into the real world, you're like, oh, this is not what I thought it was.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're 18, like trying to figure out the rest of your life.
That's a hard decision.
It's real difficult.
I'm 35. I don't even know what the fuck I want to do for the rest of my life. Like at 18.
It's something I think that, I wish that the educational system was bigger on. I think other countries might be, and we probably used to be, but like, work school programs and things like my trades, without a doubt. We have my office in East Hampton. We have a little program set up with our local high school where kids that are maybe interested in physical therapy can come into our office and they can shadow. They can see what is it like in a real physical therapy office. They can see what's going on, what are the tasks of a PT, maybe of a physical therapy assistant, or maybe someone else like an athletic trainer that would work in that type of an office to see, is this something I might want to do for the rest of my life, or is this, maybe it's not what I thought and I'm going to go look elsewhere.
They really should almost mandate the first 2 years of college should be your basic classes and then some kind of work study program.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing.
And then then focus in on what you want to do for those next 2 or 3 years. Make it a 5-year thing. School 2 years. You do work study. You take your normal classes, but then you're working in the real world for 15, 20 hours a week. And finding out, hey, this is something I could do for the rest of my life, or well, I don't want to fucking do this. This is horrible.
I hate this. This is what I don't want to do for the rest of my life.
Yep.
Isn't it backwards too? I know, because I have some friends that are nurses and stuff like that, and with the last part of your schooling, you have to do what they call clinicals, right?
Usually that is involved. Yeah, we had a full year of school, 3 semesters, crammed into 1 year. And then after that, we start to, at my Toro, what they did was they flip-flopped that you do a semester of didactic schoolwork, and then you would be doing an internship for about 2 months. And then you'd go back to some schoolwork, and then again out to an internship. So we did several.
I think what Chris said makes the most sense.
Right off the bat.
Off the bat, they should put you into that so you get a taste of shit, this is probably what it's like. Do I want to go invest my time in learning about this?
I've done a lot of thinking about this, how I would restructure things if I were in charge, and we're going to do this when my son is old enough. When he's 18 and graduates from high school, it's going to be go work at Uncle Chris's doctor of physical. Go work with Uncle Chris and go see if you think that maybe physical therapy or something in the medical field.
Dr. Uncle Chris?
Yeah, Dr. Uncle Chris.
I like that.
And he's like, I could use some slave labor.
I'm trying to get some extra time. Yeah, we like that volunteer.
That's what I mean. But go work in his office for 6 months and see how you feel. Then 6 months after that, I have friends that are attorneys. Go work in my attorney Rob's office or my attorney Curtis's office. Go work in his office.
Attorneys.
Yeah, work.
Smart move.
Work work in an attorney's office for 6 months. Look at the day-to-day, see what's going on there. Then you know what? Go do some construction. Do construction for 6 months. We'll hook you up with one of my friends that has a construction business. And go do a new job every 6 months. What I did when I was a kid, when I was 18, I did whatever job paid me the most regardless of how horrible the job was. So I was always chasing that like $15 an hour cash or that $20 an hour cash job, regardless of whether or not it was like literally like covering yourself in tar and like crawling through the dirt. Like I did whatever horrible job there was that paid the most money. And when I thought about it, like, yeah, I had a lot of extra money as a young person, but in the same token, I like missed out on a lot. I was beat up all the time, and it wasn't a
you
good.
You age yourself like that. You're already a 40-year-old man at 23,
and I have no experience doing anything in these fields that may have been very interesting to me. Like, but if you get to work in a couple of medical professional offices, you work maybe in the law field, maybe you work doing some construction, maybe some sales. You get a little bit of a repertoire of things. You could sort of see where you fit in and what you think that you might like.
Well, right there, repertoire.
Real nice.
But that's what I say.
Big words.
Smooth.
Spend 2 years figuring out what you want to do. Make sure you're doing something all the time, and then when you're 20 or 21, then decide. Especially if you're going to go to an expensive school or you're going into something with a 7 or 8 year haul through.
Because a lot of people think that it's 18 to 21 and you have to decide your life. Like, dude, you can fuck up till you're 26.
Yeah.
And like, you really don't start figuring anything out till around that time.
It actually makes a lot more sense, like, to do that at those young years.
Yeah.
And really kind of get some kind of focus or at least some experience in what you want to do for the rest of your life.
I had a conversation with somebody recently, same person who is attracted to thighs. And
She likes thighs.
she asked me a question like, where do you think the biggest gaps in people is? As like, so
From 8 years?
No, like of like, where do you do the most changing in these years? Like, where you become a different person. And I'm like, man, 18 to 21, two totally different people. And then 21 to 24, not even close to this. Like, you're who you are in those time frames changes so wildly. Like, 18 to 25 is really not that much. It's 7 years.
But the person you are at 18 and
wildly
the person you are at
different.
25,
Totally
wildly
fucking
different.
Crazy.
And you're technically an adult. You're out of high school. You could be in college to those years. It's like you might start off with this idea in your head. 21 to 25. 21 to 25. Forget about it, man. When I think back now, from 21 to 25, how different I am, and how much you experience in 21 to 25. Like, the world doesn't really start opening up to you till you're 21. 21 years old, you're kind of still under your parents' thumb, really. Depending on if you went away to college, you get some freedom. But, like, you can't go to bars. You can't do a lot of things. You get exposed to so many more things from 21 to 25. It's like, what if you graduated that time, you had this degree at 21, and then you live some of these life experiences? At 25, you're like, I want nothing to do with any of that shit anymore. It's not who I am.
Tons of
like,
people, yeah.
You're fucked. You're locked in.
I didn't figure it out until I was like 30-something.
Me neither. That's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't figure anything out.
Like, I didn't feel comfortable even considering, like, that I may have figured it out until I was like 30-something. I was just wandering.
I still
like,
want
It's
to
crazy.
say
I'm
figuring the fucking
35.
thing out.
I have a good job, but I'm like, is this what I want to be doing in 10 years from now, 15 years from now? I don't fucking know. Like, to think that you can, really for anyone, unless you find something that you're absolutely passionate about and love and it makes your whole world, but how many people are really find that?
Rare, especially so young. That's why I was
Yeah.
impressed that you found that so young, and that you're still fulfilled by it. I think that's fucking awesome. Like, you're one of the rarer people I know that, it's been, what are you, 30 you said? 31?
Yeah, I just turned 30.
So you just turned 30. 12 years ago, you figured out what you want to do, and it's like you're not soured by it, and you're still loving it, and the payoff has been worth it. That's fucking awesome. Not a lot of people have that.
Yeah, I would say a lot of it was luck too, because you get out and you get into the real world. It's it's very different than what you can imagine. But yeah, so far I have to say I do really like it. My field is also very dynamic. It's always it's changing, and I get to work with a ton of different individuals, patients that are all unique in different ways. And where I work in East Hampton, it's kind of cool because we get people from all over the place. So we meet a lot of really interesting individuals who have different stories and how they got there, or they grew up there, or whatever the case may be.
I think that you meet the
Or we
most
meet
interesting people out of anybody that I know. I'm like real jealous of the people that you meet.
I meet a lot of real interesting characters from all over the world, because it is such a unique area. There's so much money out there, and people just want to be there.
It's crazy, too.
Especially from June to September.
The diversity of people out there too.
It is the most diverse area I think on planet.
Can you get into the Bonnickers?
The Bonnickers.
There's a race of people called Bonnickers. They're a race.
Yeah, out there, it's so crazy because you have multi-millionaires, and then there's which a lot of people don't know is there's trailer parks.
There is straight up trailer parks in East Hampton. There's poverty. There is.
It's insane.
There is everything that is on earth in East Hampton in that regard, because there's people that are literally struggling to get by, and then there's people that are the 1% of the 1% that have, like, I have patients, they'll tell me, so I ask about how'd you hurt your knee, give me a little history about it.
Slid on a stack of hundreds.
I had some woman tell me she was getting off of the monster truck that they took into, like, the tundra in, I don't even know, she was in, like, Russia or something, to go on a snowmobiling tour. And when she got out of this, like, jacked up SUV thing, she twisted her knee. She said, I was worried. We got on our jet. We flew back to New York to see the doctor. And I'm thinking in my head, I think around that time I was probably saving up to buy a house. And I'm like, oh, shit, I'm trying to buy a piece of junk house on Long Island right now, and this woman has a jet. Like, good for her. She's a sweetheart. Yeah. She was a real sweetheart, and I was glad for her. But I'm like, wow, this lady literally owns a jet plane. Like, and it wasn't a little one. It was a big one. Yeah. And then the next patient is, maybe a local individual who's struggling to get by. Yeah. They're working hard, and they have to work extra hard than most because they unfortunately live in an area that housing is through the roof. Through the roof, yeah, and everything out there is just so expensive, so much more so than even like right here, not that far away.
Everything out there, I think it starts at like 50% higher.
Probably, yeah, that would be a good.
Than the cheapest area of Suffolk County or Long Island.
Yeah,
like gas is $1 more per gallon just because. Yep. If you go out to eat, it's a fortune. Everything is just through the roof. Rent, like for our facility, everything is just out of control, expensive.
Got to deal with those fucking brownie cops, the fucking high school kids and shit that write tickets. Those kids suck.
Traffic control officers.
Oh my god, fuckfaces.
I see you've had a run in with them.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the Bonnickers.
Wait, hold on.
It's a different race of breed of people.
I didn't go that far.
Is this a last name, or is this like what?
Bonnicker.
It's a race. I hope like I don't African American, or it's like German. It's not like the human race. They're like something a little different.
I hope I don't misrepresent the Bonnickers because I do like them.
This is real. This is not a joke.
You can look this up and you'll find it. Bonnicker is a term used for. I want to say it actually means a clam digger. Out on eastern Long Island, there's a very big fishing industry. For boat fishing, but also for shell fishing, bay scallops, hard clams, things like that. It's huge. It's a very big thing out there. But anyway, historically, that has been something that a lot of people out there do. A lot of the locals do, and for a livelihood. Now, I think the term Bonnicker is for someone who has been there, I want to say, for like several generations. Maybe
three.
I think the number is 3.
it.
Depending who you talk to, there's some different variants. Some people say it has to be more than that.
I'm having such weird deja vu. I feel like me and you have had this conversation, Eric.
We might have, because when I found out about it, I thought this was the most interesting thing I'd heard of. I said, there's a group of people that have their own language that live on eastern Long Island called Bonnickers.
They don't have their own language. They talk with a very unique accent that you would think is not from around here. You'd think it's like maybe like hillbilly or like South Cajun or something like that. Like they have some certain words they say, like bub, things like that. And
it's like
I think it's really cool. I'm very into outdoor stuff. I love hunting and fishing, so I admire them. I think they're awesome because these are people that they know how to fish. Like they really know how to fish. They've been doing it for generations. They take like small boats, they catch fish, they run traps that run off the beach.
But who are they?
It's local people that live out there. Like if I moved there and I became a fisherman, I would not be a Bonnicker because I'm an outsider. I'm from Up Island.
But your son.
But if we lived there for a couple of years, then maybe they would. My grandson would be maybe a Bonnicker.
Great.
Wait, now are they? Like how many? What's the population of Bonnickers?
I don't. There's a lot. Yeah,
do they live all in the same area? Is this
technically it's someone from the Springs.
It's called the Springs. They live in huts.
It's called the Springs area. The area of Springs. It's part of East Hampton.
They live in these little huts that are like giant sheds.
Do you know what I'm imagining right now?
Some of them do live more in sheds.
It's like the Ewok Village in Star Wars. It's like the Ewok Village in Star Wars.
That's not what I was imagining. No, I'm thinking of.
I saw videos and it looked like the Ewok Village.
You can look up some cool stuff.
I'm thinking of the Pikeys from Snatch.
Yeah, that would be
Very similar, very similar.
Yeah. They speak, like that, like they're.
It's a different language.
A jargon. I don't know what you want to call it.
A jargon.
Slang. Did you pull them up?
Yeah, I got
if you
it here.
Wikipedia them, there's a bit. I think they're from the Springs area. They're typically
exactly what it is,
fishermen and women.
Yep, in an area called the Springs.
Yep.
They wear like overalls and rubber boots everywhere, right?
Yeah, that's how it goes.
See,
So it's a group of people who are.
it's families from that settled there. Basically.
They've settled there.
So
These are old towns, like Southampton and East Hampton. They're really old.
So I'm imagining right now.
These are people that are fighting Indians. Like their relatives fought Indians.
So
Right. So this is the mental image I have in my head right now.
Pikers fighting American Indians.
Yeah, but not they're similar to the Pikers from Snatch, but they are dressed like the villain from I Know What You Did Last Summer.
I'm not sure what that villain looks like.
He wears fucking fishing boots.
Yeah.
Like the Gordon's fisherman.
Yeah.
That's this is what I have in my brain right now,
Yep, that's
and this is how they walk around town all year long.
A lot of them.
Maybe just regular overalls. With
A lot of them are old families that have been there for literally generations. Like I have a patient. He told me he's 16th generation. Like
16th generation?
16th. And he goes, that guy over there is my cousin. There was another gentleman in the room. He's like, that's my cousin. He's kind of new around here. He's 13th generation. That's
he's new.
That's what he told. Yeah, I was like, it was a joke, but I thought it was hilarious. I'm like, you're 16th generation. He goes, yeah. My relatives, they didn't come here on the Mayflower. They came over here on like one of the next couple boats or something like that. I'm like, they've been living there for such a long time.
Your family is the part of like what helped finish off the genocide of the American Indians.
I'm all right.
I don't know about that.
We took care of them.
Well, out there,
Get those savages off my lawn!
there is actually a tribe out there.
That was a good war.
Montaukett is a tribe out there that is. There's actually a little more about them more recently. I don't know if they're trying to establish some roots or something, but there is a tribe you could pull up, the Montaukett Indians, and there's some stuff out there about them. It's kind of cool. I've met a few people that are in that.
It's funny. There's like how you're saying, like they have their own language almost. There's a bunch of phrases that are
slangs and
attributed to
things.
this.
Yeah.
Oh, let's hear it.
Well, it's just like East Coast clan.
Is that a gang? Is that like a Bonacker gang?
Maybe.
Are there sets?
Stepping on my turf, getting my clams,
Pop
off.
What's the etymology of Bonacker?
Sabonic.
I want to say
it has to do with the bay. That's
it has to do with the bay. Like they derive their living from the bay. They're like
well,
I think it's a clam digger.
There's a bay.
Gardner's Bay or Peconic Bay.
Acaponic.
Acaponic. Acaponic. It's
That's where the term comes from.
It
says basically it's their most of the family names are Miller, King, Bennett, Conklin, Strong, Havens, and Lester.
They're very, very common names.
Yeah,
very common names out there. Like big families, very big families, extended families, and everything.
Interesting.
A lot of great people though. A lot of really cool people I've met. They're really down to earth, like hardworking.
They must be cool because Eric got real excited.
Oh, they're real cool. I've hung out with a few of them outside of work and stuff. They're pretty fun.
I have to switch gears just for a second so I don't lose it. And I meant to say this before we got on that. Related to the conversation we were having before about your job and everything like that, and like some people how you consider yourself lucky for that. I have a question for you because I've been putting the pieces of the puzzle together in my brain with certain things, especially doing the podcast has helped because we've had people like my friend Chandra's a nurse. We had this guy Mike Loro on who does physical therapy thing. He works with a lot of handicapped people that do this physical therapy thing. And the one common denominator.
So he probably knows how to do the wheelchairs real good.
Probably, yeah.
Gotta ask him.
He's going to come back on. We're trying to get him on with one of his patients actually. Which
that would be cool.
Pretty cool. But the one thing that I think people in the medical field all share is something that I think everybody's looking for. Your work has to matter. I feel like if you don't feel like your work matters, it's hard to like get motivated and do anything with it from day to day. So I'm assuming that you feel like your work matters to you because you're helping people, you're seeing the reward, and like that work matters to you.
I would definitely say that I get a spectrum of patients, and the most of them are very appreciative. One of the reasons actually I like a lot of this, as I mentioned before, the Bonacker and a lot of the local people is they're some of the more appreciative people. They respect that and they'll thank you very much, for helping them to get back to work or get back to whatever they need to get back to. But it's definitely something that is at the end of the day makes you feel a lot better about what you did that day, even though it was maybe a long day or a stressful day, as a lot of medical type jobs are. They're very busy. It's definitely not an easy job, but that is one of the big positives that you can take home at the end of the day and say, like, I really helped that person. I really helped them get through something. And sometimes people tell you stuff, like they'll like break down or like they'll be like emotional at times, and it's like, oh shit, I gotta like pull it together. And I'm not used to people telling me this kinds of things, but you definitely do really appreciate it when people do tell you those things. And
right.
Like you mentioned, it was a big deal too. It helps you psychologically with your injury. Like, to me, it wasn't really a big deal, and I'll do it again. As I mentioned, if you ever have a problem, like it's not a problem. Don't hesitate to ask. But when people tell you that, though, it really does kind of sing home, and you go home at the end of the day. It's like, all right, it's a stressful day. I'm exhausted, but you know what? That lady told me how I really made her day and made her trip, or whatever the case was that she was trying to achieve.
I think that's a big deal because, like, I have a job that I finally care about, and previously in my other jobs, like, me and Chris worked at Sprint. It's like you're working with cell phones. Like, my fucking job doesn't matter. Like,
according to those people, they were losing thousands of dollars every hour that they weren't getting.
Every single person that had a fucking goddamn cell phone was like, I run my business through the cell phone. I'm like, really? You're going to lose $1,000 because you don't have a cell phone?
They should probably have two if they're making that kind of money.
You don't have an office, motherfucker?
And the best was, those were always the people that their phone was turned off because they didn't fucking pay your bill.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you balling so much, pay your fucking bill, your phone won't get turned off.
But it's hard to get motivated. I mean, granted, this is when I was younger, like, but still, it's hard to care about a job like that. Like, your work doesn't matter, so it's easy to be like, fuck it, and not care. Like, so I think part of the happiness that people need in their lives is to knowing that they have a job that matters. And I think a lot of people, like in your field, I tend to get that from everybody. So I think it's a good good thing that you note, and then also to go off on that too. Like, as I know that what I do matters, so it's another motivation for me to keep learning, because the medical field is always changing. Surgeries are always changing. There's always new stuff coming out. I'm always trying to continue my own education as a professional. We do have to take continuing education credits and everything, but it also keeps me motivated to, like, maybe at the end of the day when I'm exhausted, maybe spend a half an hour and read a little bit about maybe one of my patients that I currently have, maybe someone that's not doing so well that I really want to go the extra mile for to try to help them to achieve their fullest recovery. But then it comes back to that, when you feel like what you're doing matters, you are much more motivated to do so, and it's not such a struggle to do that. Well, it's what you do matters twofold, because if you're not out helping these people get better and meeting Bonnickers, you're not bringing the joy to Eric's life.
That's right.
Without it,
this will be dull. There's lots of fun going on.
The ear-to-ear smile when the word Bonnicker came out.
It's the happiest he's been all week.
Yeah. All right. I just had to ask that before I lost it in my brain.
No, sounds good.
But what other interesting people? Because Eric said you meet the most interesting people, like Bonnickers. Like, what else you got out there? Like,
what's cool is we just get people, because it is such a seasonal holiday spot. We get people from all over the world. Like, every summer we get people from England, we get people from the Middle East, we get people from Asia, we get a ton of people from like New York City. A lot of super wealthy individuals.
Idiots.
Yeah, that's a common word for some of them. Some of them are great. Some of them are a little like every group of individuals. You get your good, your bad, and your
right.
Everything. But I meet a lot of people from New York City. Even Florida. We get a ton of people bouncing back and forth from Florida that have all different walks of life. So, I mean, I spend some time with the people. A lot of times I get to know them. They're coming in for sometimes months at a time. I mean, I have people coming in for 6 months occasionally if they have a very involved surgery or something very involved going on. And then there's people that are maybe working on something that is more of a management type of a thing, like a gait and balance for an older person who might just want to come in to work on keeping themselves strong.
Gait and balance?
Like gait, like walking around.
You got to dumb it down
Sorry,
for the audience.
I apologize. But someone
you say gait, they might think of a fence.
Someone who's maybe not there for a specific thing, like a knee injury, but someone who might be coming in long term. So I have people that come in literally once a week all year, or twice a week all year. So you get to know them, and you get to pick their brains and see like where they've been or where they've traveled, and I don't know, get some gems once in a while of places to go or things to do, and it's cool. And sometimes they help you out with some of those things.
That's pretty cool. I know you're a big fisherman and hunter and stuff like that.
It's another reason I mesh in out there so well. Because hunting and fishing is a big thing out there, much more so than like Central Long Island.
Well, that's what I was gonna say.
I'm not a weirdo for hunting and fishing.
Have you gotten runoff from that? Like, have you met
definitely.
people and like gone and fished and hunted with them?
I meet a lot of people that are into that. A lot of people offer to take me fishing. Like, you make friends with people over time. You know, they're coming in for a bit and then they get discharged, and you know, you might keep in touch a little bit. And I've definitely fished on some fancy boats out of Montauk that are way more expensive than my house. You know, I got invited out on a boat a couple years ago, and I didn't know what we're fishing on. We show up, and I'm like, holy smokes, this is like a $500,000 boat. I'm like, do I take my shoes off, man? I'm like, I don't even know what to do. You go in the cabin, and it's like, well, like wood's gorgeous, and I'm like, I don't even want to touch anything.
Like, I've never even seen anything this nice.
I'm gonna stand in the corner and just
take my shoes off?
Tell me what to do. But yeah, I've met a lot of cool people. I have a guy I know. He's not really a physical therapy patient, but we do some like gym related stuff, and he comes in just for like gym training, physical fitness. So he's become a pretty close friend of mine. He's a 60-year-old guy, and he bought a farm out in Missouri to do basically to turn it into like a deer hunting property. And he's invited me. I go out there.
Wow.
I went last year. I didn't go this year because I had a child just recently, about 2.5 months ago.
You're such an odd.
So I didn't go.
I had a child.
I stood out. I stood down this year, but I'll go again next year, and I go out there like twice a year with him to maintain the property and stuff. So.
What do you use for hunting? Do you rifle or bow?
I'm a bow hunter. I bow hunt for a whitetail. That's about it. I do a little bit of waterfowl hunting with a shotgun, but I've never shot something with a rifle before.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not against it. I'll probably eventually do a rifle hunt for something, but for what I'm into, I think it's much, much more challenging to bow hunt. And on Long Island, it's honestly, Long Island's, in my opinion, made for bow hunters. It's perfect. It's close quarters. It's a lot of smaller pieces of property, and you know, guns are. There is a gun season. There's a shotgun season on Long Island for deer, but it's very short. We have a 4-month bow season, and we're right in the middle of it right now, which is awesome for me. Unfortunately, I'm busy with work, so I don't get as much as I like, and I just had a kid. But that's all good stuff too. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I haven't started yet, but I actually bought a bow because I want to.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, learn to shoot. Nothing crazy.
What did you get?
I can't even remember. I can show it to you after, but I just bought. You know, it was like $200, something like that. Like, I didn't want to go crazy just because I was.
Yeah, well, you're getting into it. Yeah, you don't want to invest because you can spend $2,000 on a bow if you want.
Exactly. So, which I kind of tend to do shit like that. I'm like, you know what? No,
Sure.
Let me back it up. Let me just go easy. Let's, make sure it's something I'm into. So.
And are you looking to go hunting with it eventually, or more for target shooting?
Probably eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the state of factory farming and shit like that in the U.S. Like, I want to try and start to get away from eating that kind of shit. Like, I garden in the back. And stuff
there
like
you
that.
go.
So I like to be one of those type of people that's super self-sufficient.
Sure.
And when shit hits the fan in the future, I got this guy with all his ammo, and
Yeah, we got some.
We'll be ready to roll.
We have a compound.
So we'll definitely have to be in touch because I could probably accelerate your learning curve if you do get into bow hunting at all, and definitely with just shooting too.
Yeah.
So you got to come out by me. I live in Flanders, and we'll have to shoot. I shoot right in my yard. I have a pretty awesome setup.
Nice. That's awesome.
But yeah, I can definitely accelerate your learning curve. I didn't necessarily get into it. Bow hunting, I was, I think, 16 when I started doing that. I didn't get into it for like a nutritional reason, and now I am into it for that reason because I'm a big supporter of like genetically modified, free range, grass fed food. Me and my wife pretty much only eat organic stuff at home. A lot of what we eat, I have caught or killed myself, and she'll either help prepare it or whatever the case. She's more the cook. I'm more of the laborer, but we get it done. And venison is something that I eat frequently, pretty much all year round. I eat it probably once a week, at least when it's in season, if not more. And then throughout the rest of the year, we freeze a lot of it, so I eat it. Unfortunately, she can't right now. She has a allergy to most red meats from a tick-borne illness that she acquired a couple years ago. So she's eating a lot of turkey and chicken.
That's a fucking bummer.
Fish. Yeah, it's a big time.
Yeah, I know a couple people that have that.
It's getting more common because of the tick issue.
Is that Lyme disease?
It's not Lyme's. It's carried by the Lone Star tick. So there's a couple of different ticks on Long Island that we have. We have the deer ticks, which everyone hears about and freaks out. Then we have like dog ticks, which are if you got to get bit by a tick, if you had to pick one, that's the one you want to pick because they have the least amount of illnesses and things associated with them, and they're also fairly large, you can see them. But then we have the Lone Star tick, which is, in my opinion, probably the biggest problem. They have not been up here for as long as the other two. They're more of a newcomer. They've been here for, I don't know, maybe a decade or 15 years, and they carry some newer, interesting stuff.
Talk about what it looks like, just so that the people.
The Lone Star tick is
have an idea.
similar to the size of a dog tick. I mean, as far as size, maybe the size of a pencil eraser or a bit smaller. And when they're an adult, they have a white dot in the center of their back. So they're really easy to identify.
You can tell when you see them right away.
But they're very aggressive, more so than the other two ticks, and they carry a bunch of stuff that you don't want.
So being that you're a hunter, you're obviously out in the wilderness a lot. You're all out in that element a lot. What the hell do you? That like I'm with Chris. I want to get into this too, which I want to. You're the guy I want to go to.
Let me know. We'll get you going.
Like soon. I want to make it a point to do it.
You can come out. You could shoot my bow and just to try it out and see what you think.
I would love to.
Yeah.
Like let's make a plan.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
But
Field trip.
And you bought a compound bow, right?
Yeah.
Okay, not a recurve or a long bow.
No, it's a compound. Oh,
Okay. Yeah, let's check it out.
What do you do to avoid that, man? Like, how do you stay tick free? Because I don't.
I mean, you get bit by ticks. Don't get me wrong. 2016 was a good year for me. I probably got bit. I think around.
I feel like there weren't a lot of
15.
ticks this year.
This year was not as bad. I was also pretty wise about my decision making. But last year I got bit over 30 times. Like ticks that were bit into me that I had to remove.
So what do you do? Is that a roll of the dice every time you get bit? Like maybe I'm gonna get fucked up by something. Maybe not?
Somewhat yes, somewhat no. So if you're on point and you're paying attention, so for example, if I go in the woods, when I get out, I'm going to check to make sure that I don't have any on me. So I want to get them all off of me. If I miss one, I could get bit, and I'll hopefully notice that within a day or two. So if you do get bit by a tick that does happen to have limes, it has to be bit into you for... Research is a little bit up and down, but it seems like around 48 hours, maybe even a little bit longer than that, for it to transmit that.
Okay.
Most likely. There's no guarantees or anything. It could occur sooner. So as long as I know I get that tick out of me within like 2 days, I'm pretty comfortable. If I don't, and let's just say it is a deer tick or a Lone Star, then I have to be a little concerned. Some doctors say if you take like a small dose of doxycycline, which is like an antibiotic that they typically put you on when you do have limes, it will help if you take that within like I think 2 days of taking of getting bit. I want to say like 3 pills or something like that. Two pills as just one dose, and they say that should help. Limes is something that's really, really common out east, like really common out there, much, much more so than here. And it's a growing problem, and it's really difficult to deal with. Some people get it. I've had it twice. Most people in my family, I think you've had it at least once or twice, and you had, I think, babesiosis
I thought Lyme
too.
stays with you.
Yes and no. It's a chronic infection.
Level,
it can be like dormant, or it could be active.
It's like herpes in a way, right? Like,
yeah, like if they tested my blood right now, they would test for like antibodies of it, and it's called like IgG or IgM. So if it's like present and active, I believe it's an IgM, and then if it's dormant or if it's like I had it in the past, it would show up as such. Like they'd be able to say, "Oh, Chris, you had Lyme's at some point in your life." It shows up in your antibodies or your blood work. I'm not a wizard on that stuff, but
way to go, Doc.
Out of my scope of practice. I don't like drugs.
Shut his mic off.
I don't like medications. One of the I don't say I don't like them. They're great for certain things. They're miracle workers. But I'd rather try to correct your body with different means, like exercising or postural improvements, things like that, rather than eating some pills.
Right. Well, so now this is my other question. Do you know this much about ticks just because of the lifestyle you lead? Like with being an avid outdoorsman?
Mostly because I'm I guess an avid outdoorsman, as you put it.
It's pretty systematic.
I like it. It's a good term. Maybe I'll put that on my like profile or something.
It's gonna go on your like when we describe your
avid
episode.
outdoorsman. I like it. It's official. But yeah, no, I definitely learned a lot of it because I do get
Doctor
exposed.
of outdoorsman.
I do get exposed to it, but I also do work with it a lot. I get patients that come in literally just for symptoms that they have from having like a serious chronic Lyme disease issue.
I'm gonna call you a doctor of outdoorsman.
That's good. I like that. That's official. I want to get my captains. I want to get my
doctor?
captains.
That sounds more like porn, doesn't it? The hunt doctor. That could be your porn name. Sorry.
It's quite.
I got carried away.
Down the rabbit hole.
But yeah, I want to hunt.
You live in a good spot. Suffolk County, fortunately for bow hunters, has a lot of deer for the amount of habitat that the deer have.
So
on Long Island, I mean, you can basically shoot almost unlimited amount of deer that you want. Female deer, does. Yeah, they'll just, when you get hunting tags, you apply for you have to take a hunter safety course, and then you can get your hunting license each year, and they give you tags to tag the animals that you take. And when you take a female deer or doe, you can take your tag to the DEC or the Department of Environmental Conservation, and they'll literally give you another one to go get another doe, because there are so many for what is available for them.
It's insane. Like when we're working at the beach over the summer, the fucking deer, they'll walk right up to you.
They're like pets. Yeah.
They're like, whatever, fucking, I don't care.
And I mean, yeah, it's cool for a lot of people that are outsiders. It's, oh, it's so nice. Look, they're like cool and everything, but there's a lot of negative to that too. Like in the wintertime, the deer don't have enough food because there's too many of them, and in the winter there's no vegetation or anything, so some of them starve, they die. Also, they're tick infested, and when you have too much of something in a small area that's going to the bathroom and eating, you're basically creating a factory for diseases.
Right.
And a lot of people don't get that because they either don't see it, they don't walk around the woods, or they just don't care because they care about fluffy animals. And
well, that's what I was going to talk to you about. Is that prior to me getting into the Rogan podcast, I had a completely distorted and uneducated view on what hunting was. Mm-hmm. And I was.
I think a lot of people do. So don't feel like you're the only one. And he's kind of brought a lot of it to the forefront for more people to see what it actually is.
Yeah. Right.
And it's not just about killing animals out in the woods, because it's definitely not. Like I don't kill a lot of deer at all, and I'll admit it. I'm not ashamed of it. I kill a deer if we're going to eat it. If I need meat right there. Like I haven't gotten one this season yet. I haven't gone out much, but I haven't been super in need. A friend of mine gave me a couple steaks from one that he got, and I'm content. I'll get one in the next month or so, and I'll probably take a second one, and that'll last me till next season. But it's not just about killing stuff at all. It's fun. I love being outside and in nature. It's great exercise. I spend a ton of time walking around, hiking. And I mean, what's better than being outdoors? I've seen so many awesome sunrises and sunsets that like most people wouldn't even be able to compare it to, because they're sleeping or they're watching football or something like that.
It seems like it's just a way to connect to almost like a primal need, like that.
Absolutely,
it's people have lost
100%, and it's unfortunate because as you mentioned that, I mean, hunting and gathering, that's something humans have done for tens of thousands of years, and it's not since like the last really like 100 or so that a lot of people have lost that aspect of their life, and
myself included.
And they're totally out of touch. I mean, even me though, like I didn't get into bow hunting until I was, I think, 16. I started getting into it. I was interested in it. My dad had hunted with a rifle upstate when he was a kid a few times. Never got anything. He was similar to me, like kind of curious, kind of interested in it, but this is not like a family thing. Like my grandfather's doing this, and now I'm just doing it because I'm exposed to it. I was just interested in it, and now I mean I love it. I don't think I'll ever stop hunting, unless of course their deer are not in surplus. Then I wouldn't be so interested in hunting them. But it's something that's like it's part of my life, and I love doing it. And it completes me when I get out and I get to do a hunt on the weekend or something. It's like good. Now I can feel good. I can relax, and it's my peace of mind or my passion.
It to you is like what the gym is for me. Like when I leave the gym, I feel like I accomplished something. I feel better about myself. My brain's a little. It's a way to kind of shut your brain off for a little bit. Like
100%.
Yeah, like you. It's the only way for me, and I imagine this is what hunting is for you. Is the only way for you to kind of just shut yourself off, to turn down the noise, to like clear the static out. It's like it's your only way of being present. Like that's the only moment that you're in that moment. Like every other moment of my day is stuck in like the static, I guess, for lack of a better word. Like it's you got a million things going on. You think about this, that, and you're never just like, all right, this is where I am.
Yep.
This is what I'm doing. This is my peace of mind, and you accomplish whatever it is you need to accomplish, or you get that feeling, and you can leave like, okay, I did something for the day, and you're there, and that's that. Like, I imagine hunting is probably even more so that way, because you have to be. Like it's not easy to hunt.
It's definitely not easy to hunt. Like people don't like my wife when I first started hanging out with her. She's like, "What the hell are you doing? You go hunting or fishing?" I'm like, well, you don't even get anything.
99% of the time.
You went hunting 10 times in the last 3-4 weeks, and you have nothing to show for it. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I just didn't see the deer I was looking to shoot, or I don't need meat right now, but I'm still hunting. You know, maybe I'll see a huge buck or something, one of the ones that I'm watching, but like it's still an awesome experience. You know, like you wouldn't go to the mall, not buy anything, and then get home and your wife be like, "Why didn't you buy something?" What do you mean you went to the mall? You didn't buy? Like they wouldn't get mad at you. And like, you know, she understands it now because she's exposed to it and she gets it. But it's not just about that. Like, you know, it's not about just success. Like, or even fishing. The first year I striped bass fished, I'm very into surf fishing, which is off the beach. I think I went the first year. I think I fished like 20 times, and I hooked up with one striped bass, and it broke off. And that was my whole season. You know, I'm fishing at like 3 o'clock at night. I'm fishing at like all the right times. I was learning.
When I was
the next year, I put it together.
I would be coming home from work at nightclubs at like 4:30, 5 in the morning, and he would be leaving the house to go fishing. And sometimes we would go out drinking. We'd come home, and then he would just like get his fishing rod and like walk out to his car and be like, "Oh, someone's coming to pick me up. Who your friend Tommy's coming to pick me up, or RJ's coming to pick me up. We're going to get those fish.
Going to get them.
Going to get them.
Right. Going to get them. It's a good bite right now. It's a good tide." But yeah, no, it's a cool thing, and like honestly, that's my passionate thing is hunting and fishing. And that's when I feel most alive, or most like tuned in to what's going on. Not so much thinking about other topics or the stress of next week or the day's work, but it's a great connection, and it's outdoors. I mean, it's in nature. I mean, that's in my opinion, that's like the coolest thing. Like you mentioned, gardening. You know, a lot of people look gardening. Why would you want to do that?
Just being outside.
You're picking weeds. You're getting bit by bugs and stuff. No, it's awesome. I'm outside. I'm digging in the earth. I'm carving it up. I'm growing something that I'm going to eat that's nutritionally superior to what I can buy at the store.
There's something special, magical, whatever you want to call it, about like making something like.
Yeah.
You took that from a seed. You grew it. You took care of it, and then you're making a salad, or you're making some grilled vegetables or something. It
puts it over the top.
Yeah,
this is my cucumber.
Right.
This is my red pepper. We do a bit of gardening as well.
I feel that way every time I hit the emoji.
The emoji, the red
pepper
eggplant
emoji.
Oh, the eggplant.
I'm like, this is my fucking. Sorry, bad joke.
I made that. I crafted that eggplant with my index finger.
Sorry, terrible joke.
But yeah, like we grow like red peppers, and we had one a couple weeks. Well, actually, like a month and a half ago. It was like our last one, and then we had to buy them from the store. I'm like, fuck, we gotta buy these things now. And we had the first one in the store. I'm like, this is like half as good as the one we grew.
Yeah,
it literally like half as grew
better
than the one that we went in the backyard. We picked it, we cut it up immediately and ate it. Like that's the freshest item you can get. And the same thing, with deer or fish. I'll go catch a fish and we'll cook it up. It was swimming 3 hours ago, or swimming the day before.
Yeah. I don't like fish, but when he brings fresh fish back, I'll always eat fish. It's like I'm not a fish person. I won't order it at a restaurant, and very rarely, maybe only like a dozen or 2 dozen times a year, will my wife like go get fish and prepare it. But if the fresh fish comes in, or a piece of mako steak or something like that, I'm all about that.
Yeah, we do some shark fishing.
Fresh
is good,
dude.
Yeah.
I made so much.
I asked you if you wanted to go. You didn't want to go.
Just you'd never. Look, dude, that is the craziest fucking thing ever to me. Because I saw the picture of you with that goddamn. It's the most manly picture I've ever seen in my life. There's a picture of this kid on a fucking boat, wherever fucking miles, terrifying amounts of miles off the shore.
I'm going to put it on the Instagram.
He's fucking. The kid's metabolism is 90 miles an hour, so he's shredded out of his mind, jacked, and he's flexing, holding a fucking shark. I'm like, this. I will never be this.
You're holding the fishing rod.
It's the manliest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm like, Chris is the coolest person I know. You'll never get me on a boat that far.
It's a fun time. I don't go in the water. People ask me all the time. They're like,
There's
you
no
go
way.
Swimming in the water? I'm
How
like,
far
no,
out
I
were
stay
you?
on the boat. Most of the shark fishing we do is between like 5 and 20, 30 miles. Somewhere in that range.
Far. You lost me
depends.
at 5. That's far.
We caught a big one at 5 2 years ago.
I don't fuck with nature like that.
We caught a big thresher actually, like 5 miles off the beach. It was a good fish.
You're never gonna catch me out in the ocean like that, looking for fucking sharks.
It's a good time.
Fuck you.
You feel alive, man. Let me tell you, you're holding a fishing rod and you have a 200-pound fish. That's running like a freight train, or you see him jump. Like we caught a mako two seasons ago. It jumped 5 times in a row. It was like 50 yards on the boat.
Terrified.
This 200-pound fish comes flying out of the water, does like a backflip, lands, does another one right there, does another one right there. Did 5 in a row. I'm like,
your fucking mind.
Your mind is blown.
ass.
It's crazy to see something like that. They come 15 feet out of the water. It's amazing.
I do want to see it. I really do.
You can find them on YouTube, but
I would be
to see it in
terrified.
person
I would
is
be
amazing.
Terrified.
We've seen like whales, come up and breach. We had it was probably like a 20, 30-foot humpback come up. We saw it jump, I think 3 times. 3 years ago, we saw that happen right off the beach, actually. That was a really cool sight. You see all kinds of giant sea turtles, the mola mola or the sunfish. It's like the world's largest bony fish. It's this freaking weird looking thing. But you see those. You can drive right up to them. I mean, the sharks, they swim right up next to the boat. It's impressive. It's impressive.
I'd be terrified. That boat sinks.
Nah, it won't sink.
Fuck that.
It's a good ship.
What if you run out of gas?
We check it.
I don't know, man. I would be terrified of that.
Yeah, 30 miles is too far for me.
I would be terrified. I wouldn't be able to, trust me, I would love to see that, but I'm just like, man, I don't want to get stuck out here. I don't want to get stuck out.
You don't.
It's the sharks. That's the sharks' element, man. I don't belong there.
You're in their habitat.
Yeah.
That's their habitat.
You're the type.
You do. You have to respect them. Mother
I respect
Nature
them enough to not get it.
is something you really have to respect. I mean, every time you do go out that far, you have to really be aware of the weather, what's changing weather, what's coming, where the waves or the wind's supposed to be. And that's like, I mean, in the world of offshore fishing, 20, 30 miles is nothing. What's commonly done around here is they go out to around 100 when you'll hit the canyons. I've been out there a few times on other people's boats. It's a sharp drop off in the ocean floor. It goes from
is it continental shelf?
Yeah, exactly. So you're coming out, you're in like 400 or 500 foot of water, and then it drops off to thousands of feet of water. And
just hearing that right now, a chill went down my back. That is terrifying.
The first time I was out there, I went on this guy's boat. It was a gorgeous ship. We're out there. We fished, I think it was 94 miles out, and we're going tuna fishing, and then we did, it didn't wind up being such a good trip for tuna, but we did catch some tilefish, which was awesome. One of the best tasting fish. If anyone ever gets the opportunity to eat tilefish, try it. Delicious fish. I think they compare it often to like lobster. It's so delicious. But anyway, so we're looking at the fish finder. It's like 500 feet of water, which to me is already very deep. I'm feeling very small at this point in time, like in the scheme of the earth. And then we see it dropped off to, I forget how many thousands of foot it dropped off to. I'm like, oh my god, I didn't know the earth was like that.
Yeah.
Can you sense it though? Like, do you feel that?
Yes and no. At first I did. I'm like, oh, this is deep. This could be anything underneath there. I don't know. And then we're out there for 2 days. So by the end of the the last day, you're like, I don't know, you're just kind of used to it.
No, but when you first got out that far, can you feel the change? Could you just how sometimes your body you
get
weird,
that eerie
you just get this perception something's different out here.
At first I did, and then I think you get used to it. I'll talk to patients. We get a lot of commercial fishermen patients, and I'll talk to someone who works on maybe a long liner or on some kind of commercial ship, and they're out for a month. They'll go way out, hundreds of miles, and they're all up and down the coast, and I'll talk to them, and a lot of times they say at first, yeah, you do, it feels weird and everything, but I think they get so used to it. And a lot of the guys, they love it. They're addicted to it. They wouldn't want to work any other jobs, really, because you're seeing stuff that a small percentage of the earth is ever going to get to see.
Right. Well, that's what I mean.
You see dolphins swimming next to you.
You get to
whales.
that far out.
Yeah.
And you've never been that, like you said, you'd never, prior to that, you said, I didn't even know what the canyons were. I had no idea when you said it. So to me, I've never been out that far.
Common for tuna fishing out there.
Okay.
Very common.
But when you first got out that far, what I'm saying is, did you, you know what I'm saying? You're in a new, this is uncharted territory.
New turf, yeah.
Did you feel all right, we're in a different part of this now. I know now, this is the what's below me goes on for more than I can even comprehend. When you said that to me,
it's a creepy feeling.
I felt it. I felt it in my back right now. I was oh.
It's definitely a creepy feeling because there's organisms down there that we don't even know that exist.
That's
lots of them.
That's
not even
aliens.
Just a few.
That's
there's
aliens.
a lot of them.
That's aliens.
I mean, there's new species of fish they find or stuff that they thought was maybe extinct or really rare, and then in the last few years there's been some shifts underneath
giant
the ocean.
Squid. Giant squid.
A lot more squid. Yeah, a lot more squid.
They're aliens.
Squid's a cool thing. Yeah, we see.
They're terrifying.
We see big. I've never seen a giant squid, but you see 3 foot long squid. They'll swim next to the boat and stuff.
Yeah.
Fuck, those things are so
they'll
smart.
come into if you have lights on your boat down on the water. Sometimes you'll see stuff swimming through at night. It's kind of cool.
I don't want to see that, dude, because I feel like a squid that's plotting on me.
What did they find? The imprint of the suction cup, and they had it figured out to
they scaled it.
Yeah, they scaled it, and it was 20 or 25 foot.
Astronomical. Yeah,
it was the Kraken.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, that's the Kraken. That's what these people were, I assume, talking about. Because you're in a wooden boat and you're out there, and what the, you see
Something
some
that's fucking as big as the
some
boat.
tentacle coming through. Yeah, that's
And
the
they're
Kraken.
super, super smart, dude.
They're very smart.
Squids
Squid are
are
like smarter than some
super-
people, I think.
They're aliens.
You know, all you
Octopus.
need.
If you look up like octopuses in labs, they do like experiment. They like leave their tank to get fish in other tanks.
Yeah,
and
They
stuff
were
like that.
using tools.
Yeah,
They were
yeah,
using
yeah.
tools. You were using tools. They fashioned its own tools. They were like solving math problems.
That's what I
and
said.
shit.
They're smarter than some people.
Yeah, they're smarter than I am.
Most
They're,
people.
they're
People
better
are
at
down there,
algebra than
yeah.
I am.
Common Core, they got it.
Yeah, like I was never able to solve for X. The fucking squid could. I can't do it.
Those cephalopods.
Yeah, dude, I want nothing to do with that
It's
shit.
extra arms.
I don't want to be. And they're like, there's some of them are fucking immortal. Like what?
A lot of sea creatures are like that.
Yeah,
though.
they're fucking
Some of those
immortal.
Turtles at 150
Hundreds
years,
of years old. Yeah, lobsters.
I was recently out at the aquarium in Riverhead, and they have the big koi pond, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't realize like koi can live up to like 200 years or something
wow.
like that. I had no idea. I'm like, what the fuck?
That's an old fish. I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to eat one of those.
I just, dude, that's so terrifying to me. Being that far out, knowing that, like, I get just like freaked out by it. Like,
It's a cool feeling, though.
I feel like I need to do it
It's-
once.
I would recommend it.
But
I
I'd be
recommend
terrified.
everybody to try something like that. And there are commercial chartered trips that you can take if someone doesn't have like an opportunity or a friend that has a boat that does that kind of thing. But I mean, if you guys want, I'll gladly take you out. We'll go. June is a great month to go sharking. So
I'll go in the bay.
you'll go in the bay. Honestly, I mean, a lot of people don't want to go in the ocean because they feel like it's daunting. But on the right day, the ocean looks like a lake.
Yeah.
Like I've been out, and you'll see some of my pictures that I'm like 10, 15 miles offshore, and it looks
It's like glass.
super
Yeah.
calm. The boat barely is rocking.
that's creepy to me too, though.
Yeah, it's cool.
Because
It's cool though.
so calm that I'm like, it's
Yo,
coming.
some
It's coming.
shit's about to
Sometimes.
fucking happen
Any
right
second
now.
now, any second, the Krakens have come out and sucked my fucking face off.
And no one's gonna know what happened to you.
Yeah.
No one's gonna know. That was the end of D-Rock.
Yeah. What happened to you?
The Kraken.
The Kraken.
Kraken.
Yeah, I imagine a Kraken doing me like Starship Troopers, the bug. It just sucks your fucking brain out. That's like...
But you got to figure that at some point over the course of history, that one of the Greeks was in a boat somewhere, and they hauled up like the anchor, or
Yeah.
they hauled up like a rowboat, and one of those like giant squids was on it and jumped on some guy, and they like had to fight it back with swords, and that's how this tale got started.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens
Next
once.
thing you know-
That's gonna get around like wildfire back.
Yeah.
Back then.
Yo, fuck yeah! Imagine you come back in, you're like, "What happened to Bill?" Well, we pulled up the anchor, and this sea creature jumped on him and ate his face, and we were fighting him with muskets, or no, ancient Greek time, we were fighting him with our swords and spears, and they pulled him back into the sea. And that was it.
Well, that's what...
Don't go there again.
No way.
Where were you?
This is what I think. That's why I think it's even crazier. Like when I think about like Cortez, what Cortez did.
Oh,
Yeah, that's impressive what those guys
Dude,
did.
that guy. That's the most gangster shit in the world. Not only did they sail across the fucking
For the
world.
conquistador.
Yeah,
Yeah, well-
sailed across the world, dealing with all those crazy ocean elements and all that shit, fucking giant krakens and all that shit, disease. You have no idea where the fuck you're going. We're gonna show up with a fleet of people. We're gonna sink our own goddamn ships and be
We're
like,
gonna fucking die.
we're taking over this part of the world and we're dying or we're doing it because we ain't going back because I blew my ship up. That's the most gangster shit in the world,
Gonna make
That's
it
some
happen.
motivation right there, though.
dude.
Like, do it. Get it done.
I don't
Else-
like. I now thinking about this. I wonder what sounds easier, like showing up and fighting the Indians or sailing, because that shit's both terrifying. I don't know if I'd want to get back on the goddamn
You
boat.
had
Yeah,
to,
right.
You
Let's
gotta,
just stay here.
Yeah, you got to figure then you had to be pretty ballsy to get on a boat to
In
go
the first place.
exploring. Yeah,
Yeah.
you had to be a different kind of human being that we're probably unaccustomed to even being in the presence of. Like, we think like a wild person now is like somebody that goes off to do like aid work in Africa. Like, oh yeah, they're pretty wild,
Yeah,
man.
pretty.
Oh, they went to Asia after the
But they
tsunami.
flew there. And
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
They flew there. They stayed
stayed
in
there
a
for a month.
hotel.
Oh man, he got on a 24-hour plane ride.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Crazy bastard! How did you sit still that long?
How'd you do it? Did you rest his legs? Did they feed you on there?
What was the crossing back then? Like fucking
Probably months.
Like,
It
had to be
like
months.
2
Had
months
to
or
be
something.
months. Well, it depends
It was-
when. Like, they didn't even know where they're going, some of those
It was
guys.
still 2 weeks up until the 50s. Because,
Yeah, when they had those ships.
Yeah, at some point our mother took a boat to Germany, and I think it was 2 weeks on the boat or something. I got 10 days.
Yeah, it's a long
So
time.
you gotta
They're not
figure
moving
with
quick. Those
sails.
boats are putting along.
You
You
gotta
get
figure with
currents.
sails.
You got currents and wind and stuff.
Might have been 3 months, 4 months. of
Unpredictable.
sails.
For some
Yeah.
reason, the 3 months. Was
3 months,
like, what
yeah,
I thought.
me
It sounds
too.
in
about
my
right.
head, like,
Yeah, I thought this would took like the Nina Pete in the same way. Right? It was like 3-4 months.
3 or 4 months.
3 or 4 months at sea.
I could listen. I go on the cruise ship. I get seasick. I get so seasick on cruise ships that I don't even know where I am. My wife and I, we get the cheapest cabin in the lower center of the boat, so there's the least amount of like rocking and up and down motion. And still, we're both the first day. We have our bracelets on. We're taking our Dramamine. We're puking. We don't know if we're obviously you're having drinks. You don't know if you're. But the next day you wake up, am I hungover? Am I seasick? I'm nauseous from something, and you just sort of ride it out for the rest of the trip.
Yeah, it says about a little over 2 months.
Wow, that's a hefty sail, man.
Fuck that, dude. I have a hard time with the ferry sometimes. I'm like, get me off this boat.
2 hours, I gotta get out of here.
I'm just like, I can't stand these people. Get me off this boat.
You can see where you're going the whole time.
It's not even that. It's just more being stuck in the same boat with these people.
Somebody's car alarm's going off like 7 cars behind you. Like,
you can still hear it.
You motherfucker! What did you think? Someone's gonna steal your car on the ferry? Why did you put the goddamn alarm on, you asshole?
Yeah, you gotta. You're right. I never thought about it. Like what? I almost wish you could time travel just for that reason, just to see like
what it would be like
being in the presence of a human being like that. Because you get the vibes off those people. Like I wonder what it would feel like.
It's cabin
to talk to someone like that.
Yeah, just to be in the scene, like just to like like when you're around somebody that's like maybe like you're around some less than stellar individual.
Uncomfortable, like that uncomfortable feeling that you get around certain
because
people.
like they're unhinged. Like this guy might go. Like you got to watch what you say. Because you might say something that's like completely innocuous to the average person, but could set this person off. And they're not a normal person. It's like times that by 1,000 with like those people.
And you got to wonder like
Genghis Khan.
What kind of person gets on a boat like that? It's got probably that type of person, like somebody that's like,
unhinged.
I got to get out of here.
A little bit of an outcast in the area, maybe.
England is too little of an island. Europe is too small of a continent for me. I got to get out of here.
Not only that, no, this guy was like a paid mercenary. Like, listen, you're so nutty.
Military,
so nutty that we're gonna give you money to go on this crazy mission. Go sail across the world that we don't even know might not exist. Oh, when you get there, conquer the land. So you went there, you discovered new lands, you came back, and like, well, we're going to send you back. Go kill everybody.
Let's talk about the type of person that you would send if you were like the king or queen of a country. Say you have like a whole bunch of generals. We'll call them generals. And you're like, okay, I'm from Spain. Spain, they were out conquering stuff early on. So you're the Spanish king, and you're like, got your list of generals. Say you got like 5 generals. You got like, all right, I got Chris. Chris is my brother. He's my first general. Your bro, he's really big. He's my second general.
They would think he was a god.
Yeah. Well, Dave,
he's 9 feet tall. Dave, like, this guy.
Dave's my buddy. He's the 3rd general. Then we got like Skenga. We got Skenga. Skenga's like our 4th general. Then it's like
not a general.
Well,
I'm not taking Skenga.
No, he's like a lesser general, like under you. But it's like, who do you send?
I do take Skenga because he's good for morale on the ship. He'll keep everybody entertained.
But who do you send?
Keep everyone sane.
Who do you send on the death boat to go around the uncharted planet to go conquer the land and the people that you've never met? To go steal the gold. It's obviously not your best guy. It's the guy that you're just like, fuck, got Cortez, motherfucker. That guy again, he's causing trouble in the town. What the hell? It's like, that's the guy that you're like trying to get, like, what can we do with Cortez? We sit down with the other generals like, let's send him on a mission. We're going to send him on a mission. We're going to talk about gold.
He's crazy enough that he might just succeed too.
Yeah. We're going to do, Dave, you bring it up first, and then you say you heard about it, Chris, and we're going to convince him that this is like his path to greatness. And that's that's probably Christopher Columbus's story too. Like, that goddamn Christopher Columbus, what the fuck? We got to come up with let's make up a story about Indians and gold. We'll give him both. Yes, I'll donate.
Spices. Yeah, spices.
Like, whose boats are you going to use? Everyone just raises their, I'll give him a boat. I'll give him a boat. Let's get him out of here. He keeps hitting on my wife.
Maybe he'll come back with a ton of salt.
We'll have the greatest steak
like
ever.
You got to figure, those were probably the explorers, like people that were like very high up in society, had a lot of money, had a lot of sway, but like everybody that knew what was up was like, we got to get rid of this guy. He's gonna bring down the whole house of cards.
You got to get rid of this Columbus character. He's out fucking everybody's wife.
Next thing, fucking Italian, fucking everybody's wife.
He's
talking about noodles.
He's trying to bang the Queen of England. We don't need the English Royal Army knocking on our doorstep. We got to tell him somewhere. Let's make up a place. India. If he just sails that way towards the sun,
just go left.
Go left. Keep going
keep
left. Just keep going. We'll give him a couple of boats, a whole bunch of food, fancy sails. You know he likes fancy things.
Make him nice colored. It's fun.
What was the what was that fucking thing? Shit. You just brought up the fancy thing. What was the trade? The Dutch East Indies trade, right? Wasn't that all fucking silk and
the Dutch East India Trade Company? That's Shell Oil now. Same company,
that's right.
Same company, largest company in the world.
It's been a long time since we learned about the solstice, but it was all like silk and shit like that. Right? Yeah. It was all luxuries and indulgences. Yeah.
Biggest trading company in the world.
How crazy is that, dude? Like, think about this, and it's funny because they were talking about this on the Rogan podcast the other day. I forgot all about this. The fucking salt wars. Dude, people used to go to war over salt.
Yeah, salt was huge when there was no refrigeration.
Yeah, now it's
fucking crazy.
Worthless.
Less important.
Yeah.
Salt and spices, like shit that you think like now, like this goes back to like how out of touch we are with things.
Well,
like,
back then, if you didn't live in an area where they had that spice, you didn't get it.
Yeah.
Unless you found some trade route or something to get that.
People would kill you for fucking salt. You would kill people
think
for
about
salt.
If every piece of meat you had no seasoning on it.
Yeah, it would suck. You're so shitty.
It's just so crazy, like you said, how out of touch we are with everything. Like you're so like it's like the hunter-gatherer thing and all that stuff. We're so far removed from it. It's like,
and it's very recent too. Like the last 100 or so years that it's occurred.
You can't even make heads or tails of that right now. Like I can't even wrap my brain. Like, what would it take? Obviously, not you, Eric, but for every other normal person, like, what would it take for you to get pushed to kill somebody? Like, can you think about killing somebody over salt right now?
What's that movie where there's no law for one night?
The Purge.
Yeah, that's all I need. Just to hit the switch.
Well,
Everyone's staying. Please are staying home.
All right, but
let's get the bow. You got a bow? Let's go.
But I'm being serious though for 1 second. Like, think about this. Like, think about how trivial something like salt is right now. Where people were literally going to war with it. You would step on somebody's fucking throat to get salt. Like, what would it take for you? What kind of, like, now, in this modern era, we have refrigerators and everything's so easy. It's like, what would it take for the average person to
like
kill somebody?
Himalayan sea salt, or are we talking like McDonald's salt?
I mean, it would probably have to be something comparable to the importance of salt to that time, though.
Right, you're talking about life
salt.
Or death.
If this
survival.
is basically, you're going to put this down to somewhat of a life and death situation, because that salt was used to preserve a lot of their food, so that they could literally, their family didn't die.
It wasn't for that wasn't for the families. It was for the military. Because if you can't feed an army, then you can't be a dominant world power.
Interesting. Okay.
And that was that's the reason that salt was important, because it preserved meat.
So you could travel and move around.
Yeah. For the marches that would they'd march. Now, what's crazier there? A fucking boat ride for 2 months, or having a fucking march for 3 months to get somewhere?
Fuck, I don't know.
I'm not really into running and walking for exercise, so I'm not into. I don't like that one. I'd probably take the boat.
It's crazy. Alexander the Great, like, we're gonna conquer the fucking known world, we're gonna walk. We're gonna walk, motherfuckers.
It's good. It's a small world.
And that's reminded me of Tyson. He's like, I really admire. Like, I really admire all the conquerors. I admire Hannibal. He conquered cartilage on
conquered cartilage.
He conquered cartilage on elephants. Like, you mean Carthage, Mike?
Well, back in those days, the person that controlled the food sources was really the person with all of the power. And one of the primary reasons that so many other countries started coming over to North America was because there was a tremendous cod population here that hadn't been fished.
The codfish.
And cod was a fish that could be dried, salted, and stored, and would be basically preserved forever if it was barreled correctly. And armies were fed by cod. So in those days, the cod, it was essentially military power. Like, if you could feed 50,000 or 100,000 men, then you had a 100,000 man army. If you could only feed 15,000 men, then you weren't one of the powers. You would have to rely on an England or Spain or Portugal or one of these seafaring countries.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, and in order to be your protectorate.
Interesting.
That's one of the main reasons that wars went on in Central Europe as well, because areas like Germany, who's been involved in like every major war that's ever happened in Europe ever, doesn't really have a big coastline. And so they were always fighting for dominance of some area of coast so that they could have ports to import and export and launch their own naval vessels. And you look at certain like strategies that took place during the war, and one of the different wars, and one of the major strategies, especially early on, would be if you have somebody that's acting up, you gotta either circle them with your navy so that you can like have an embargo and not let any food go in and out so they can't feed their army, or block off their routes to the sea, blow up their bridges, or maybe like commandeer their ports so that they can't get any supplies in or out, and then they're stuck using conventional methods.
It's interesting now how things have changed, where like that would be the dominant strategy. Now it's like cut off their internet.
Yeah.
Cut off their internet, cut off their cable. They will crumble.
Yeah. That's weird. I never thought about that.
Well, I always thought about cutting off people's power. Like, nobody ever really delves into cutting off people's power when you're at war. And I feel like that's the big difference between whether or not you're fighting. I don't want to say, like, the wars that we're involved in now in the Middle East are fake. But a real war or a fake war, like real war, you're going to attack their infrastructure. You're going to blow up their nuclear power plants. You're going to shut their electric off.
They live in
and you're
fucking
going to
caves.
you're going to make them lose. No, but like we're not attacking those types of targets over there. So I feel like.
Well, I think the rules of engagement have kind of changed.
They're very muddled now. Yeah, it's complex.
Because you're
good word, muddled.
You know, you're talking about attacking their infrastructure, but then what you're doing is you're creating civilian casualties and affecting other people. Like,
well, that's why I feel like they're not like. I feel like a real war is like World War II, where it's like, all right, there's some bridges. Let's blow these bridges up. Or Vietnam. These are the bridges that the people use to get the supplies back and forth. We need to blow them up so that they surrender.
Well, Vietnam's probably not the best example because Vietnam.
But it's a better example as to what's going on now in the Middle East, where it's like, all right, let's kill a whole bunch of people in one town and then shake everyone's hands in the next town.
Well, because what's going on now are they're like proxy wars.
Yeah,
they're not real wars. They're proxy wars. Where like the other wars were real, full-scale conflicts. I think.
Yeah.
You know, like Vietnam was fucking. Half the problem with Vietnam is like that's when they introduced all those weird rules of engagement, and that was like I don't know how true this is, but I read things about like those rules of engagement were so muddled to like prolong the war, to drag it out.
Yeah, but I mean that just makes sense because there's lots of people that benefit from
war. So like all those weird wonky rules of engagement were meant like there was like accounts. Actually, the guy Jocko Willink, he talked about a lot of stuff about how there was like times where there was legitimate chances for I guess for lack of a better word, I guess America was the Allies or whatever you want to call them. I guess at that point, I don't know if they're the Allies in Vietnam or whatever, but they had chances like where certain people could have like crossed like these like lines that were like you're not allowed to follow them or whatever, and would have ended the conflict had they not had these wonky rules of engagement. They had all these targets they could have taken out and essentially put an end to the conflict years prior to it, but because these stupid rules of engagement, they weren't allowed to engage in.
You got to figure there's going to be a lot of bureaucracy when there's money involved.
Yeah.
So back to fish.
You
catch any codfish?
I have caught some codfish.
Are they delicious?
They're pretty damn good, as most people would know.
Sick transition.
It is a popular fish. I fished for them a few times out of Montauk, and they are tasty.
How large
nice
do they
white.
Get?
They vary. I think a keeper size last year was like 22 or 23 inches.
They're pretty big fish.
But a big one would be 50 pounds. They used to get a lot larger before they got fished out. Unfortunately, like most fish that are tasty, they get harvested frequently, and a lot of times too frequently.
Like a Alaskan cod. That's a good fish.
Alaskan. They have a lot of good fish up in Alaska. Them halibut.
Halibut's fucking real good.
I'd like you to get some tuna one day because I want some of that fresh toro.
That might be on the menu this upcoming year. That's what I'm trying to branch out more into is the tuna fishing because it's as my pockets get deeper, I can afford more fuel to get into some more tuna infested waters.
Nice.
But yeah, that's a tough fish to catch, but they are probably the most prized fish around, really, to catch. We actually saw a giant tuna last year while shark fishing. It was a cool sight. We saw, I don't know, it's probably a several 100-pound tuna came up, and it's called like roll. They like come up to the surface and they kind of like turn and roll. They were very surprised to see it. It was probably about 15 miles offshore. But that was a That was an exciting day.
Too bad you weren't able to get
Yeah,
it. I would have dove in after that guy.
Yeah, that fish, they swim quick, man.
Forget the Kraken.
Yeah,
I'd be
forget
like jumping
Kraken.
in with my knife in my mouth. I'd be like, Toro!
That's worth it. That's a tasty fish.
Yes.
Not that we would have sold it if we did catch it, but that is an expensive fish if you do sell them.
Yeah, what does that meat go for a pound?
I mean, it varies depending on the quality of it. I think the fat content is a large factor in how you take care of the fish once you catch it, how quickly you catch it. You don't want it to overheat or get too hot in the fight, which can wreck the meat.
Well,
But it can vary, like dollarly amount. I've heard different prices, $4 and then up, depending on how high quality it is.
Some that big, like a few $1,000s.
Some of the fish, they can be worth $5,000-$10,000 if it's the right kind of meat, if it's got the right fat content, and if it was taken care of properly while getting it into the dock, because that's a important factor with those guys. You got to keep them cool, and you don't want to fight them on too small of a fish can tackle, so that they overheat, so that they don't overheat, I guess. But one day we will get one. Probably, hopefully this next year.
I'm really excited about that.
That's high on my list. It's one of the few fish I have not caught that is in our local waters that I would desire to catch.
I have a question about tuna. Do they factory? Do they have those like factory net forms? Do they grow tuna in those as well, or is most of the tuna we eat fresh? Or what is the spectrum here? Like I know salmon. They always say, "Oh, I got to get wild salmon."
With tuna, they're doing more of the, I guess you call it farming, where they put them in big nets. What's catching on, which I think is actually kind of good, is they'll put a giant net offshore in the ocean, so it's cleaner, it's quality water, and they can sort of maintain it to some degree. I actually couldn't tell you though, as far as like sushi grade tuna goes, if it's I'm sure it's mostly wild caught. I don't think they're growing big tuna like that in those pens. And then like when you look at like canned tuna or other stuff, a lot of times that's much smaller, less desirable types of tuna that are not so highly sought after.
I have a gripe with tuna.
What?
It's not legitimate at all, but I don't eat seafood at all.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
You should.
The tuna thing, it's like...
It's good. Seafood's good. You're missing out on some serious
You've never had sushi?
I'm going to make you a fucking real good seafood dish. I'm not going to tell you that it's seafood.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Anyway.
Dave, you should come with us to Hoshi and Patchogue.
Oh, yeah.
And you should just, I'll tell you what to get. And I'm not into all of the...
I've done this all.
Entertaining rolls. No, but if you go with people that are like, oh, I eat sushi, but then they're like, I want the Ninja Turtle Dragon roll. Like, those people don't really know what sushi is. They're just eating the flavors of the sauces, etc. And what else? Like avocado. A lot of them don't have any fish in them at all.
Yeah, a lot of them. I'm not actually a big raw fish eater because it kind of creeps me out. Back to codfish, if you want to hear a gross fact about them, a lot of them have actually worms in their meat. It's actually really common.
Do they make sushi out of cod?
That I don't know. I would assume not. I sure as hell wouldn't even touch it if they did, because that's a pretty creepy thing when you fillet a fish and you see little worms in there.
Yeah, that is real skeevy.
Not for me. You can eat them as long as it's thoroughly cooked and everything. It's not a problem. People have been eating cod obviously for hundreds of years, and I guess they salted it, and that was fine. But it's pretty gross. Sometimes other fish have that as well, but we don't want to talk about that too much.
Yeah, we don't necessarily want to get any fish with any types of worms in them or anything. It seems like... Well, right now, Dave's going to talk about his gripe against tuna fish.
No, you know what?
Go ahead.
I was just...
Non-seafood eating. D-Rock, tell us about your gripe with tuna.
Like, just because I don't eat seafood, it's like, I'm not allowed to have an opinion.
You're not. You're like that. Nope, you're not allowed to complain.
I'm not actually even complaining. It's just an observation.
Like a vegetarian going, I have a gripe with fucking beef.
Don't you fucking dare put me in the goddamn vegetarian whiny category.
Vegan.
Fuck you. It's more just a joke and an observation that it's like, I always see every can of fucking tuna, it's like dolphin-free tuna. Nobody cares about the tuna.
It's the hierarchy.
Right.
It's the hierarchy of what we care about.
Right.
There's that division. There's that line.
Yeah.
Well, that's my only gripe.
There's that line. Some people it's at the chicken. Some people it's at the dolphin.
Yeah.
That's it. You can kill as many bugs as you want,
sure.
but like, you're not going to walk up to somebody's cat and fucking smash it and just leave it on the ground. Well,
I actually knew a kid who used to do that.
Oh, boy.
Right. Yeah, no, that's all. It was just an observation. That's it.
Well taken, sir.
Fuck you.
Alright, go fuck yourself.
So, Dr. Ott.
Yes, sir.
Can you, now that we highlighted all your struggles and all the work you had to do to get that title, start using it, bro.
Start using it?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Just start correcting me. Like it's a doctor.
I hate to say it because like
Just go by Dr. Chris.
a lot of people. I like that a little bit better. It's a little more casual, which is my my thing. But I hate to say it because like the doctor title, as you mentioned, a lot of people like to throw it around like, oh, yeah, something special. I'm a doctor. Blah, blah. I don't know. I feel like now that I've kind of earned it or whatever, I guess I have like a little bit less respect for it because I mean, so many degrees are out now where there's the doctor title. They're like all over the place. You get like doctor, whatever subject.
Philosophy.
Yeah, philosophy, announcing themselves as a doctor, this and that, and like I don't know. In my field, that title is sort of reserved. Since I work with other healthcare professionals for like MDs, like medical doctors, or a DO. Like if I was in a hospital, I wouldn't introduce myself. I'm Dr. Chris. I would say, hi, I'm Chris. I'm a physical therapist. Somebody helping you with whatever the case may be. But I'm not going to go running around throwing that title around because that's more reserved for your medical doctor.
MDs.
Your maybe your DO. There's a few others, but mostly those two.
Yeah,
Doctor of Osteopathy.
Yeah, what's the difference between a DO and an MD? Is it like definitive, like real difference?
Well, the schooling is a little bit different. Your DO is going to have a lot more knowledge or education in the skeleton. So they may likely be trained, whether they practice doing it or not, in some manual manipulations, similar to what a PT or a chiropractor would do. So they're much more trained in that regard, whereas an MD is not so much. They're going to have a great anatomy education, but they're probably not going to be doing any manual stuff to therapy to patients.
Are they more specialized in like one specific
A DO?
area, like an MD?
A DO?
Whereas a DO is sort of like an all-around doctor, covers a multitude of...
Well, they focus more on like musculoskeletal type topics.
Okay.
They can write prescriptions, and today a lot of them do function more as an MD. They're working like just a general general practitioner's office, seeing people for day-to-day ailments. Could be a cold or something like that. But a lot of them do function as that. But some of them still do function and do manual manipulations and stuff. There's a couple that we work with out east, and occasionally I'll send patients over if I have something that I'm not maybe looking to manipulate or something, just to get their take on it, or to see if it's something that they can address for the patient. But they do a lot of times function as a medical doctor, so it is hard to tell a lot of times.
Well, I appreciate the fact that you are humble enough to have that all in mind, but I just really want you to be a snob.
Well, thank you. I'll try to be a little more snobby when I'm around you. Maybe at the casino, I'll throw it around.
Oh,
well, like when I come to the.
Oh my God! Door. Just push your way to the bar. Excuse me, I'm a doctor. I need to get a drink.
It's actually really funny because one of the last times I was at the casino, we're about to leave, and I see literally like my boss is there. Two guys on the company at that time. It was two brothers, and the one brother was not so involved with the Eastern offices, and we're heavily drinking. We're about to go home, and who do we see? But I'm with my coworker, and we see literally our boss there, who was fortunately very lit up, very lit up. And
it's a casino, everyone is.
Yeah, it was a good experience, but it was probably the last person who I would have expected to see over there.
That's awesome.
The last person. Apparently, he goes there a lot, so maybe you've thrown him out before.
That place is really unique in the people that are there. Like you have, the dregs from fucking the shittiest towns that are just 21 to fucking high-priced surgeons and fucking lawyers and shit like that. You're like, what the where else does this fucking happen?
Hey, everybody's got to let loose. Everyone's got to have their fun, and we're better of a spot than somewhere like that.
Yeah, it's
don't have to worry about driving.
Yeah,
there's
that's
no
the
driving.
best place to be a snob.
Everyone's there to have fun for the most part. I'm sure you get your
scallywags.
I'm going to
less
make
desirables, but
undesirables.
Undesirables.
That's the term. I'm going to make it a point when you come next to be like,
let's make it a big deal.
My friend is a doctor.
I didn't get there at all this year.
My friend is a doctor.
So this is VIP for doctors only.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it.
I like that corner table, so I can.
We'll make it happen.
Yeah, we'll make it happen.
Yeah, plus, that's a table that when it gets dark out, it starts getting chilly. That has the sun on it.
Oh, it does? Yeah, there we go. I like that. I like that too.
But here's the thing: you have to wear the surgeon's mask.
No, I want you to wear the headband with that like circular
thing on it, like Dr.
We'll cut a little hole. Yeah. We'll cut a little hole through your mask, and you could drink everything out of a straw the whole day.
Then everyone's gonna think I have like SARS or something. H1N1 positive.
You're one of those Asians that just wears the mask.
Just wears the mask, like the people on the airplane. They put that on.
It's ridiculous.
I should wear one of those when I fly.
It's actually really good because people are much less likely to sit next to you. Like if you're on a bus or something like that, if you put that on, no one's going to sit. That's going to be the last seat to get filled, and there'll probably be a couple people standing before they sit next to the person with the mask on.
It's even better though.
Yeah. It's great. Then you lay down.
All right, so you have to come to casino now.
We'll do it.
We're going to make a big production out of this.
Let's do
So
it.
hunting trip, fishing trip, and casino.
Well, yeah. Now we got you signed up for some more fishing. Without a doubt, some
I'm not committed to
archery
fishing.
training and some
I
bow
definitely
hunting.
want to come hunting though.
Definitely.
I feel like
all you got to do is you got to take a free. It's a free hunter safety course. You can get your hunting license. You got to get a bow.
Like a day.
It's 2 days. It's like 2 4-hour days. They teach you like the rules, regulations, some do's and don'ts.
We'll go do it together.
Yeah, you take it. They're frequently done at actually where we were in Patchogue. You can go to Smith Point Archery in Patchogue. They have them a bunch of times a year. That's the bow shop I go to. They're great down there.
Yeah.
I buy a new bow from them every few years. But they'll get you going, and then you're ready to rock and roll. I mean, you live in a great spot for bow hunting if you do desire to go that path, and you get some super high quality meat.
Is it something worth doing now, like this time of year? Is it worth to do now so that I can go? Or
You probably wouldn't be ready to hunt this year. You want to practice.
next
You want to
year.
make sure that you become very proficient with your equipment, so that you can shoot an ethical shot at your target, whether it be
Small killer spots.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you want to make sure that you're very trained up and you're familiar with your gear too, because it's not something you want to be going out there. You're not learning when you're in the tree, trying to bow hunt. You want to be very, very comfortable with your gear and what you're doing. So I do a lot of practice. I shoot my bow frequently. I love shooting my bow. It's fun
So
just to shoot my bow.
Better off just coming to you and shooting and stuff for now.
I would shoot, get used to it, see if it's something you want to pursue, and then definitely get that license. It's still good to have either way if you ever do go on a hunt somewhere else.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, do that, and then without a doubt, we'll get you out shark fishing, and maybe we can do some fluke fishing if you like, Dave, in the bay, or bass fishing. Or something.
I've never gone fishing.
Oh man, I feel bad for you.
Not once.
That's like disappointing.
It's funny.
It's not fun. It's real boring.
It seems boring to me. So this is like a couple years ago.
It can be boring, but it can be very exciting.
If you're with good people, and
it depends on the trip, and you have to have the right level of expectation. Like you don't want to.
You make it look cool. I'm not gonna lie. You're the only person I could say that makes fishing look cool.
I mean,
like I envy you when I see some of your pictures, and I'm like, man, that looks cool. I've never seen anybody else fish and have it look cool.
It takes me to a lot of spots that I definitely wouldn't have gotten to if I wasn't going to go fishing. Like, if I'll find a spot on maybe Google Earth or something, and I'll find like a point that projects out, and I'll say, I'm going to park here because you can't get to this point any other way, and I'm going to walk with my gear through the woods and fish this spot. And you'll find really cool, beautiful sights, beautiful scenes. I moved out to Flanders a couple of years ago, so now I'm like exploring new turf and new territory, and I'm learning. It's a learning experience. I keep a little bit of a log so that the next year I can hopefully do better than the previous year to help learn facts and things or memorize stuff.
Let me talk about this for a second. For anyone that thinks hunting starts when hunting season starts, or like fishing for different fish starts, it doesn't. It goes for my brother. It goes all year round. So when you're looking at those cool pictures, Dave, those are like culminations of hundreds and hundreds of hours worth of walking through the woods looking for trees with marks on them that a deer may or may not have made with his antlers, or looking at piles of poop in a certain area over months at a time, like, oh look, this pile of poop's real big, and then seeing the pile of poop there again a couple weeks later, and then you looking like April, May, June, July, August, September, and then October, or was it November, when hunting season starts, you just hope to see that deer while he comes to take his poop in that area. Like, this is like the culmination of hundreds and hundreds of hours.
I've never heard it explained that way, but that is somewhat of a...
It's sort of like
description.
You thinking that you're going to be a UFC fighter if you just start training UFC, and then you realizing, oh, it's going to take me like 5 to 7 years before I get good enough to even be able to like train with those guys in the UFC. Like it's not just like, oh, we're going out for the day to go fishing. Like, he's been checking reports, looking at currents and tides, going fishing at like 2 in the morning, and then the next week at 3 in the morning.
Right place at the right time.
For months.
You could fish a spot one day and have the best day ever, and you could be there at the same time the next day, and yeah, you can't even buy a fish. You'd say there's no fish in his water.
Like, it's good to go along.
Many times.
It's good to go along as a guest with him, but I don't think that you necessarily would want to be him unless you want fishing and hunting to be your jiu-jitsu.
You never know.
I don't.
Because
it
could turn into it. You never know.
He makes it look good. That's all I'm saying. You're the only person who has made fishing look appealing to me, is what I'm saying. So that's a compliment.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I hope
I will come fishing.
you'll like it, I think.
But you and I are very similar, Eric, so you have to be there.
I get seasick, man.
That's all right. We'll get
I'll
you something.
come.
We'll get you something.
No, we'll start. We're going to go.
I get seasick too sometimes.
We're baby
I've been
stepping
seasick
it.
many
We're baby
times.
stepping it. We're going to do the bay first.
Yeah.
All right, I'm into that.
Because I feel like at least, because I feel like Chris Yarbrough would be into it. The two Chris's,
We'll have a good time.
you guys will probably be into it a lot more. At least if I'm not having a good time, me and Eric can commiserate.
We'll do an early season.
We'll just drink.
You can do that. That's fine.
We'll throw the fishing pole.
I'll run the boat. I'll run the boat, and you guys can do that.
Maybe I'll go swimming if it's warm.
Yeah, we could just bail together. Like, fuck these idiots with their lines.
I'm gonna get a knife and I'm gonna hold it
We'll
in my
get
mouth
out.
and I'm gonna swim through the water with like my goggles on, like
Big ass machete.
yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
We'll do like some type of fishing that is a little more action packed or action involved.
I'll tell you what I've always wanted to do.
Some types, we go with an expectation that a good day might be catching one fish. That might be a good day, but other types of fish we'll fish for. You have expectations of catching 20 or 30 fish, so that's what we'll get you guys out for to keep you more entertained.
I would like
something
to catch,
that we would do with like a little kid or something.
I would like to catch fish that you have to club.
Club. Ooh, that's a little tougher.
Those are baby seals.
That's a little. Ooh, there might be some seal hunting down the road. There's a lot of seals around now.
Is there really?
The topic has come up.
Porgies, I'd club a porgy.
We could fish some porgies. I know a really good spot early spring to have borderline nonstop porgy action.
I've seen them on the menu at restaurants.
People are
before.
eating them now.
That's
Well,
so
other fish
weird.
are getting less common or less populated because they're getting overfishing.
So
Overfished.
people are like down there, like, all right, we got to slum it. Let's eat some porgies.
You're finding porgy on menu. You're finding bluefish on menu. I've heard in New York City they're serving, which is not
Really?
necessarily a highly sought after fish for eating. I'm not a big fan of it. I'll eat smaller ones. They're also high in mercury, which is not the best. But you're seeing a lot of different things. Skate you're seeing on menu, and sea robin. People are eating sea robins,
really?
which is something that most people would not even consider as a edible fish, but I guess you can eat it. I've never had it myself. I've eaten porgy. I actually like porgy. If you get a decent sized porgy and you fillet them correctly, you get a nice little white fillet there. Very, very delicious.
Nice.
All right.
All right. Well, we're up almost to the 2-hour mark, so probably wrap this sucker up and have you back on again.
All right, right on. We'll get some updates maybe later on in the year.
Nice.
Here's the thing: is that
Maybe we'll do one after your guys' fishing trip.
no, you have to come before.
Okay.
So that the fire gets lit again.
We'll light it up and then we'll do a pre and a post.
We'll do some
Right.
archery sessions.
We could do
and
that.
and then we'll have you back on, and then we'll get ready for the fishing trip.
6-borough archery and fishing tournament. Because you guys can compete. One thing about fishing is nice when you get a couple people out together, so you can have a nice friendly tournament.
We'll put a
Catch
pool.
bucks.
Yeah, pool
We
fish.
throw 20 in, put it towards the restaurant bill afterwards.
Sure.